Hello, and welcome back, or welcome to Books and Crannies.
A book lovers podcast.
That's right. I'm Danielle.
I'm Sarah.
And this is episode number 4.
Episode 4.
Wow, wow, wow.
Wow. We're doing the damn thing.
We sure are. 4 episodes in.
Yeah. How do you
That's
feel?
good. It's like a month of episodes.
Yeah.
That's nuts. I feel good.
Feels good.
Yeah, I'm having fun with it.
Me too.
I hope y'all are.
Yeah, you better be.
Whoever be listening. I'm already messing up English.
We're pirates now.
Okay. I'll take it. I'd be a pirate if I had the opportunity.
Arg.
Arg is right. Would you have a hook?
Probably.
All right. Would you chop your hand off just to have a hook?
I mean,
if I had
pirate
to.
requirements.
I'll have an eye patch.
All right, cool.
And a peg leg.
Can I chop your leg off?
Yeah, but knock me out.
Oh, no.
Put me on drugs or something. No. All right. Well,
I don't feel like it. Sorry.
if I don't have a leg next episode, guys, you know why.
Anyways.
We are still in Akamath, A Court of Mist and Fury.
You did it.
I know.
I'm so proud of you.
I know.
Oh my
I definitely
goodness.
said I was going to stop saying titles, but
You
I
did.
keep doing it,
Yeah.
and it was correct. This episode is all about chapters 25 through 46.
46.
46.
I was going to say 47.
That's where we ended.
I know.
Well,
I figured it out.
yeah, we got there in the end. This chunk is,
It's a lot again.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
But
all
also-
of them are going to be moving forward.
I feel like this chunk was a little more cheery than the last episode.
Yeah. I was talking to Sarah earlier, and I was like, damn, that last episode, we were just solemn. Like, we still had fun with it, obviously, but that first part
We were
of
just
this
pissed
book,
the entire
freaking
episode.
Tammy and his tantrums, out here being a fool.
Tammy tantrums.
But, y'all, without further ado, we got to get going on this.
Let's get into
because
it.
we're going to give you another really long episode. Sorry about it, but also not.
Hey, I'm a person that likes to listen to really long podcasts.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I do too. It's
Yeah.
like a thing you can put on while you're doing other things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So hopefully that is this for you. And hopefully, of course, there was silence for that. Sorry, y'all.
Excuse me.
How dare you? But, chapter 25, we're still in the Mortal Lands.
Yeah.
We're still there. And Feyre and Rhys are going off into her stomping grounds, her woods that she used to hunt in, to train.
Yeah.
She wants to train her magic.
Her magic. She wants to master her powers.
She wants to get all magic-y. Because as we noted last time, she's starting to show all sorts of shit.
Yeah.
Because, well, she's got a bunch of High Lords
Yeah.
up in her.
She's got a little speckle of everyone in her.
A little speckle of everyone. We're not trying to dog on you, Feyre. That sounds like we're calling you... Anyway. So
We're not here to slut shame. It's fine.
No. You do you, girl. But she wants to train alone. She doesn't want Rhys to be there. She says, you go away. Go do something while I mess with my power. He wants her to light a candle.
Yeah. And then douse it with water.
Yeah. Over and over.
But she doesn't want him to watch because he distracts her, of course.
Well, I mean,
look at him.
She is obsessed with him already.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah.
It's been leading up to obsession.
Yeah, for sure.
And he's sending her silly thoughts through their bond. Like, I'm bored. What you up to? And she's like, could you leave me alone? And is getting all frustrated. Can't do magic.
Yeah. He also tells her before he leaves, to like call him through the mating bond if she needs him. And he says, like, you could rub a specific body part if you want me to come a little faster or something like that.
Certain body parts. Wait, you can try rubbing it on certain body parts and I might come faster. And I was like, okay, double entendre.
Ooh, baby.
Which makes, like, Feyre chuckle about it after he leaves. And I feel like she hasn't really laughed. Like, she had mentioned having not, like, couldn't remember the last time she laughed. Like, genuinely. Oh, my God. Genuinely. Doesn't know the last time this has happened.
Which
so
is
she's
so
starting
sad.
to chuckle. I know.
God.
Rhys is pulling things out of her, including a chuckle about his silly comments.
Yep.
But while she's doing all that, she's all focused, and then suddenly...
The Ator shows up. He's like, hey, bitch.
Hey, what up?
Hey, I'm the Ator.
I'm the news. Yeah, he shows up. He's been missing.
Yeah.
They've been wondering where this freaking guy is.
Yeah, I mean, they've been looking for him,
Yeah.
haven't they? Since Under the Mountain, like,
They
Cassian
wanna
and
know.
Azrael have been looking for him.
Yeah, I mean, I think they assume that he has the remnants of good old Jurian, so
Yeah.
they want to get him,
Yeah.
you know? But yeah, he grabs her. He grabs her and holds her, and she's like, oh, hot dang. And she can't get past him. She's all freaking scared, kind of. I mean, I think she knows that, like, Reese is coming.
Yeah.
He can feel and knows everything she's going through, so, like, you know. And, of course, he does.
Of course.
He shows up.
Friggin' Superman over here.
I know. And every time he makes an entrance, it's the grandest. Mm-hmm. He comes in freaking dark and scary as hell.
Guns a-blazing.
Yeah. He comes in just angry.
Yeah.
He's like, what the heck? Actually, he comes in casually, but with magic rolling.
Of course.
He comes like, what are you doing, silly guy?
Wrapped in his dark shadows and shit.
Yeah. He's like, you think you
Silly guy.
You think you can freaking take my Feyre? No. So he gets him.
Sorry, I got distracted. The mic is moving, and I don't know why.
Why are you bouncing? He wants to join in. It's
I guess.
Too.
He's like, yay!
Tell me more.
I want to hear more about Reese.
You and me both, buddy.
Anyways.
But, yeah, Reese, stops him from hurting Feyre, gets the Ator, and then Az just comes swooping in.
Yeah.
And Reese is like, take him.
Take him. Get him out of here.
Get him
Figure
out
out why the heck
here.
he's coming here to take my lady.
Yeah, get him out of here. Although, he does find out a couple of things in this interaction before Az takes him, that the king wants Feyre. King of Hybern wants her.
He sent the Ator to get Feyre.
Uh-huh. So the fact that they know where she is a little bit scary and sus.
Yeah.
And also mentions that, I think Reese asks about the war and armies. Mm-hmm. And the Ator says something along the lines of, like, we've got them and there's allies in every court.
Every territory. Yeah.
So that's really cool.
Unsettling.
Unsettling.
Who are the allies? I really want to know.
Yeah.
Who
are they?
Yeah.
Let's get them before they do anything worse.
Seriously.
Yeah. So that's not cool. That's scary. And
We getting real weird this episode. Sorry.
Yes. It's just my thoughts are everywhere, so you're gonna have to deal with that. ADHD, man. But anyway,
Az takes him away.
Yeah, they don't know where yet.
They winnow away. And Reese tells Feyre that, like, they'll get information out of him and then send him away as, like, send hom back to the king with a message.
Yeah. And then after all that settles, he's like, so anyway, you want to train some more, or, like, what's good? And keeps pushing her. He keeps, like, taunting her and saying that she stopped fighting and, like, she's given up and all of this stuff. Oh, no. Okay. I'm sorry. She confronts him and she's like, you knew someone was going to come for me.
Yeah, he knew that the Ator was going to come.
Yeah.
Or someone. I don't know if he knew specifically about the Ator, but
he wanted to know who was after her. So he was, like, baiting.
Yeah. And the only reason he left her alone is because he wanted to see.
Yeah, he wanted to see what would come out. Because obviously he would be able to get there in no time at all.
How would you feel about that if you were in Feyre's situation? Would you be, like, pissed?
Yeah, kind of.
I would be too. I mean, like, you could have filled me in on the plan.
She said that too. Like, you could have told me.
Yeah.
But I feel like, I don't know, maybe she would have acted differently had he told her.
Yeah.
But he could have filled her in. I feel like she'd gone along willing.
Yeah, I feel like Feyre's a decent actor. Like,
yeah, she could have made it happen.
She pretended to be in love with Tamlin forever.
For the sake of Amarantha and everything. And pretended to be afraid of Reese. Come on now.
Yeah, come on.
But yeah.
Could ever.
She's upset with him. She's like, you slimy son of a gun. You should have told me that you were using me as a little worm on a hook.
A little worm.
I don't know.
Yeah. And she, like, gets so pissed that she wants to hit him.
Uh-huh.
And so she tries and he dodges. Dodges out of the way.
Now you see me. Now you don't. Oh, I'm over here.
And then, what does our girl Feyre do?
She winnows.
friggin' winnows.
She does. And the way it's described is like, I can see where he's headed. She like time essentially slows down.
Yeah.
She watches him go.
Yeah. And then she folds herself into a little realm and pops up.
She sees a trail of his dark magic. Pops up and tackles him. Mm-hmm. Tackles him on down.
Yep.
It's like, you
little
I got you. You stinky. And in all of this, she's like, when she finally tackles him, she's thinking about his body.
Of course.
She's like, oh, it's taut.
Everything is so tight and muscly.
We've never been this close now that I'm flush against him. Oh my God. Man, she really is thirsty for this man.
How could you not be?
Yeah.
Come on.
I mean, I'm thirsty for this man.
Same. I would break up with my non-existent boyfriend for this man.
Fair. But yeah, she mentions that. I just thought it was funny. It's immediately in this section that, it just, carries on.
Yeah.
Carries on. But then after that, she has this conversation again with him about, like, don't use me as a pawn.
Yeah.
Like, teach me how to be a weapon.
Teach me how to be a weapon. I loved that. I had that quote written down because I'm like, yeah, bitch.
Yeah, damn straight.
Be a freaking weapon.
Yeah. I feel like she's starting to get some life back in her.
Yeah.
She's getting a little feisty.
She's got the sass.
Getting sassy, a little feisty. She's ready to fight.
Yep.
She's ready and rearing. And Reese is like, oh shit, sorry.
Yeah. And while they're having this conversation too, she like asks him what happened with the Ator.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And does he use the bond to show her the memory?
He lets her into his mind. He opens up a little room for her.
Yeah.
Like he did with Yanthi, that memory. He opens up a little room.
That's right.
And shows her everything that happened with the Ator.
Which, ooh.
Yeah, that's a lot. They, of course, drill him for any information that he might have, and then...
I feel like we find out a lot from him, too. Like, he tells them that the Spring Court has all of their borders locked down.
Oh, yeah. There's stuff going on in the Spring Court, for sure.
And little, like, images of the army that the king has built. Like... ships full of people and land full of people everywhere.
King's not messing around.
Yeah.
Yeah, Reese goes into the Ator's brain while Az is torturing him with the truth teller.
Like weird inception of Reese being in the Ator's brain while Feyre is in his brain looking at the memories. It's all weird.
Yeah. It's like multi-layered.
Yeah.
It's an onion for sure. And they know, he mentions too that everyone knows that Reese is the one who took Feyre.
Yeah.
So they're all up in arms about that.
Of course.
Probably. And that's why the Spring Court's all shut down, likely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they fuck him up.
They do.
They break his legs.
Reese tells Asriel to break its legs, shred its wings, and dump it off the coast of Highburn. Yeah. With a message for the king and to see if it survives.
Yeah, I feel like, dumping the Ator's body is a message in and of itself.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. They're like, listen, we know what you're up to.
Yeah.
Or at least we found your Ator. I guess if they put him in that place specifically, then they know it's targeted.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
crazy.
Good riddance. Yeah. Freaking adder. Hopefully he just doesn't make it.
Yeah.
Maybe the King Highburn will be pissed and be like, you failed me, you slimy beast, and murder him.
Off with your head.
Off with your head. In a courtyard where everyone watches. Let's get really medieval.
Let's go spike it on the Spring Court statue in the garden.
I woke up and saw a head. I mean, it happens there regularly, apparently, now.
I guess. So anyways.
Yeah.
Then... Feyre decides that she needs to write a little letter to Sir Tamtam and tell him that, Reese didn't take her. She left on her own free will.
Yeah.
And basically tells him that she's not coming back.
Yeah. Don't come find me.
Yeah.
And I'm never coming back.
Yeah.
She says never. It's
Bye.
like there's a finality to it. She's like, no, deuces. I'm done with your ass.
And your freaking tantrums.
And your Tammy tantrums. And
I cannot handle that.
I really wish that I knew the TikToker that I got that from, but somebody put like a Tammy Tantrums TikTok together, and it was very funny. So shout
Credit
out to them.
to whoever
I'm sorry.
you are.
If I find it, I'll put it somewhere. But yeah, she writes that letter, and then everyone decides to go out on the town in Valaris.
Yeah.
The whole inner circle.
Yep.
Feyre included.
Yep.
Are going to go out on the town in the nightlife.
She wants to see Valaris at night.
Yeah, which fair.
I mean, me too.
Yeah.
Come on.
I mean, it's supposed to be when it's at its best.
Yeah.
Is at nighttime.
Yeah.
And before they leave, Nuala and Caradwyn are like helping out, and Amren's in the room with Feyre. Mm-hmm. And Amren drops that Nuala and Caradwyn are wraiths.
Yeah. Like half wraith.
Half wraith. And they can, which is just means they can like go through walls.
Yeah.
They're like really shifty and I don't know. They're good spies.
Yeah.
And says that they spy on her for because
Asriel doesn't trust her, which is like kind of blew my mind a little bit. I was like, I thought the whole inner circle was like tight knit, sweet. They all loved each other. Yeah, just kidding.
Amren even says though, like I can't blame him because she's this beast hanging out in a high fae body. Yeah, we don't even know anything about her really.
Yeah, well, and she says something along the lines of like, if he didn't trust me, then I wouldn't trust him. Yeah, as the like.
Spy master,
shadow master, or whatever.
Shadow singer.
Shadow singer.
Shadow singer.
The chaos.
And Amren also is like, by the way, Feyre tries to give the amulet back that Amren gave her to go to the prison.
Oh, yeah.
And Amren's like, yeah, it's useless. Like, right.
She's like, actually, you can keep it.
Yeah, Rhys gave that to me a long time ago, and that's probably why he was looking at it. Like, what the fuck? Why did she give you that?
And I have written down, I liked what she said to Feyre when she was like, why the heck did you lie to me? Amren tells her, you needed something to believe you could get out of the prison again. Like, she was just trying to help her out.
She was just trying to give her some hope.
Yeah.
Which is very, like sweet and mildly unlike Amren, because I feel like she's just sassy and, like, doesn't give two shits about anybody.
Yep.
But that was nice.
Oh, Feyre also learns from Amren, I believe, that, like, the tithing is not something that every court does. It's just Spring Court.
Yeah.
I'm like, way to go, Tamlin.
I know, right?
Of course.
Yeah, you really want to paint your court in a nice light. Let's... Penny and dime? Is that the phrase?
Nickel and dime.
Penny and dime. I mean, it's kind of it. But nickel and dime are citizens after they were just, enslaved for 50 years.
Because I have to be the most powerful.
Because I'm Tamlin.
I'm a tampon.
That's right. But then they go to Valaris. They go down to the city. And it's beautiful, and Feyre is shook up by it. I actually have a quote about it real quick, if you're down for that. I do too.
I'm going to read one while you look, because I have it written down.
Go for it.
I hope it's not the same one. If it is, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
She says, there was no place like it in the world, not so serene, so loved by its people and its rulers. Which just, like, paints this beautiful light about it that, like...
Yeah. It's gorgeous.
It's magic. And
it's, like, well taken care of. Yeah. Obviously, all the people are happy and, like, respect and are in awe of their leader.
Yeah, it's like, they take pride in where they are.
And supporting Rhys in his ruling. Yeah. You know, they like him as a High Lord. Which, what a thought.
Yeah.
But, let me see...
While you look for that, I'll keep talking a little bit. Feyre also says... Oh, no, never mind. She didn't say anything. It was my thoughts. I said, it feels like the way that she's, like, respecting Valaris and admiring it, it just feels a little bit like the city is, like, bringing her back to life.
Yeah, for sure.
Not only the city, but Rhys, too.
Yeah. Yes, you're right. This part, she's just, in awe, looking at the city, especially at night, obviously, and she says that the sounds of all of it might have been the most beautiful thing I'd ever heard. The people and the river and the music, the clank of silverware on plates, the scrape of chairs being pulled out and pushed in, the shouts of vendors selling their wares as they ambled past. How much had I missed in these months of despair and numbness? But no longer! The lifeblood of Valaris thrummed through me, and in the rare moments of quiet, I could have sworn I heard the clash of the sea clawing at the distant cliffs. So she's just, like, filling the void that is her heart. heart right now with like the beauty that is Valaris.
Yeah.
Both with the happiness of the people and the scenery, etc.
Yeah. It's bringing her back to life.
It's very cute.
I love it. I want to go there. I need a city to bring me back to life.
Right? Let's go to a city. I don't know which one.
Preferably one that looks like Valaris.
Great. Okay. If anyone knows of that in your city, does it look like Valaris?
Apparently, people say that like Estes Park reminds them of Valaris, which
I'm sorry. There's no sea, first of all. Listen, Estes is beautiful, but I don't imagine Valaris.
Yeah, no, not at all.
But then they go to dinner, and Reese is so freaking sweet to the owner of the restaurant. It's clear that they're regulars there. Like, she takes care of them. And, I mean, I think anyone would because, you know, High Lord, whatever.
Of course.
But it's clear that they go there often, and she, like, knows Amren's preferences and brings her out blood. And Reese is just really kind.
And isn't this I mean, we knew that Amren didn't, like, eat normal food, but I think this is the first time Feyre realizes that, like,
it's blood.
It's blood that she eats.
Yeah. Which is, the owner just brings out like a goblet of blood. She's like, it's fresh. We just butchered it.
We're going to need the meat tomorrow anyways.
Which, like, why you eat blood, Amren?
Yeah. Are you a vampire?
Ooh. Maybe.
Oh, man.
That's what she's inside the High Fae hiding. And they have this interaction with the owner, too, where Feyre's talking to her and she asks her how the food is, and Feyre says something along the lines of, like, it makes me feel awake. So back to your point of Valaris awakening her, like, she tells that to her. And the owner seems to understand. Reese has, like, a glint in his eye. He's like, oh, yes.
He loves her.
Absolutely. Yes.
So then, I mean, after dinner, everyone wants to go dancing.
Yeah, everyone being more.
She's like, you bitches are coming with me, whether you like it or not.
We're going dancing. But the only two that go with her are Cass and Az.
Yeah. Feyre's like, I'm tired. I want to go home.
Yeah. Well,
and Reese is like, all right, I'll walk you.
Yeah.
Because I'm sweet.
Yeah.
I love you.
And before they head off, Az gives them, like, a longing look. Like, Cassian and Moore go ahead, and Az is, like, brooding.
Yeah.
So the love triangle reinforced. We'll learn more about it. But then Reese walks her. Where to? Where do they go?
They go, I don't remember.
They go to the rainbow, but I think it's, like, reflected in the Cedra. They're at the river. They're at some bridge by the rainbow and chatting.
Yeah.
And they talk a little bit about the Court of Nightmares and sort of its role. And how, you know, when they kept all of this quiet and the rest of Perinthian, not Valaris, what they know of the Night Court is the Court of Nightmares.
Yeah,
and
the Hewn City.
Yeah, the Hewn City. And Reese keeps that up because it's like a added protection for Valaris. Like, they know that the Court of Nightmares is horrendous. And so they don't want to mess with that. Not knowing that there's a beautiful city.
Yeah. I feel like that, I mean, it also, like, gives no one a reason to, like, mess with him. Why would anyone want to mess with him? He's terrifying.
Yeah.
In this image. You know?
What he portrays to everybody, for sure. And then they also, I know I talked to you about this, I don't remember if I said it on the podcast, but they talk about Under the Mountain. They pass a shop, there's music playing, and Feyre recognizes the song as the one that she heard Under the Mountain. And she's like, you sent that to me?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah. And then she realizes that she had images about the Night Court in that same moment, and he didn't send those to her. What's that about?
Yeah.
She just, like, created the Night Court in her head on her own?
I guess. I don't know.
What's that about?
She asks him why he sent her the music, and he said, because you were breaking and I couldn't find another way to save you.
Yeah.
Which just, like, everything he says just reinforces my freaking love for him.
He's just so caring and, like, observant and knowing of the need. You know what I mean? Like, he can pick something out and being like, this is exactly what she needs right now.
Yeah.
Whereas Damlin wouldn't even talk about her freaking torment and
he would just
PTSD.
leave her alone in the house and let her deal with her shit all on her own.
Yeah, yeah. So that's very sweet.
She also asks him during this whole interaction, like, why he never married. Why do you want to know, Feyre? But he basically tells her that, like, I don't know, he didn't want to, like, subject anyone to that, like, once you're married, then the person that you married has a target on their back. And any potential offspring from that marriage would also have a target on their back. Mm-hmm. And it's just this chain of danger. Yeah. Which is sad.
I know. God. It is sad. Reese, you don't deserve to be alone.
No. You need love, too.
And all he's doing is protecting people, potential mates. Mm-hmm. And then they get home. And Feyre goes to bed, and a piece of paper shows up.
With a pen.
And it's like a note from Reese about how he has bruises after being tackled by her, and is like, you're going to lick my wounds. Yeah. And they make this whole exchange back and forth, and she brings up the, like, tear licking from under the mountain. And he says something along the lines of, like, my tongue's better than that. Like, I could do better than licking up your tears. And I'm like, saucy.
Yeah, he also says, I've been told I'm very, very good at licking. Like,
so they're starting to get flirty.
Saucy?
More than flirty. They want each other.
For sure.
They just won't go out right and say it.
I don't know why neither of them want to admit it. I can kind of understand Feyre, but, like, Reese, just tell her what you want.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure he doesn't want to overstep.
I guess.
Like, cross any bounds. I don't know.
Yeah, you're probably right.
But after that cute experience of going to dinner and these, saucy notes, Feyre goes to sleep and dreams, but doesn't wake up from her nightmares. She dreams about the Ator. But it's like the first night that she doesn't wake up. Yeah. Terrorized. Solaris is healing her.
It's healing her. As is Reese. Bringing her back to life.
Reese's Pieces. Yep. Yep.
But then she starts training with Cassian, right?
Yeah. In this discovery too, when they're training, and then it is also dropped that Az has gotten back from the Mortal-Lands, and that the queens, because they're scoping out the queens, and they have some sort of barrier, like there's no way into their fortress or whatever. He comes back and mentions that, which comes up again. But they're training, and while they're training, Feyre cannot stop checking out Reese and Feyre. Or Reese and Azriel. Yeah. She's thirsty. Yeah. This girl. She's like, they're rock hard abs. And I'm like, oh my God, the thighs. Like, she's looking over the whole body. Both of them, not just Reese.
Yeah, of course.
This girl.
I mean, you got to appreciate a beautiful sculpted male body when you see one, I guess.
And she's surrounded by him.
Yeah.
You can't just ignore that. Yeah. Fair, I guess, fair. But yeah.
And they're all very sweet to her.
They are.
Like, I don't know, her and Cassian have, like, a little bit of banter, and he's kind of more jokey with her, but they all care about her.
They do. As in his quiet, mysterious way. Yeah. Cassian is like a big brother who picks on you but actually loves you.
And then Reese is just like
everything.
Swoon worthy.
Yes. But in this training session, I love this chapter. And I love this interaction between Cassian and Feyre. Because they're training. Mm-hmm. They're doing punch-ins.
Feyre sucks at using her left side.
Yeah, get it together, Come Feyre. On. The right one's all right.
I can relate, though.
Yeah, my
left hand is dumb.
It's not smart. That's for sure. But he starts asking about the letter that she wrote to Tamlin. Mm-hmm. And she, like, avoids it and brings up more. Yeah. A little bit. And he's like, that's old news. You know, like, that happened. Whatever, it's old news. Brushes it off.
I also just want to note that, like, Reese told her not to mention that, and she does it. So, yet again, Feyre's not listening to other people's advice.
Will she ever? Will she ever? Probably not.
Girl drives me crazy.
She's silly. But I think it's just, like, self-defense. She doesn't want to talk about it. So she brings up something that's going to, be uncomfortable for him. But then he's like, it doesn't matter. Like, good try. Yeah. Silly little Feyre. But then she starts paunching. Mm-hmm. He asks her about the Tamlin situation, and she says, I'm fine. And they start training again, and she starts punching out her emotions.
Yeah. I think she's a little salty about him knowing about the letter because she didn't really tell anyone besides Reese.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So she's like, why the hell did he tell him?
That's true. Yeah. Reese told Az, and Az told Cassian. It was a game of freaking telephone. Mm-hmm. And she's like, but why? And that makes her salty. And also just, like, the raw emotion of it all starts getting her up in her feels. I have a quote too. We're both looking for one. But she starts punching out those feels with aggression, which I feel like it's such a, like, symbolic movement of energy for her. Mm-hmm. Like, she has all this pent up in her, and has had it pent up in her for so long. And then this was just, like, one small, like, the last straw.
Yeah.
The last straw. What's your quote? Because I wonder if it's the same.
So she's pissed about Tamlin, or more hurt, I guess, in this situation than about Tamlin. This is long, I apologize, but
it's the same one as mine. I underlined the most important bits, but we can go through.
I'm just gonna read the whole thing.
Okay, it's pages 296 and 297.
She says in her brain monologue, I had done everything for that love. I had ripped myself to shreds. I had killed innocents and debased myself. And he had sat beside Amarantha on that throne, and he couldn't do anything. Hadn't risked being caught until there was one night left, and all he'd wanted to do wasn't free me, but fuck me. Mm-hmm. Ew.
Yeah. It's gross.
And when Amarantha had broken me, when she'd snapped my bones and made my blood boil in its veins, he'd just knelt and begged her. He hadn't tried to kill her, hadn't crawled for me. Yes, he'd fought for me, but I'd fought harder for him. Mm-hmm. And then, and he had the nerve, once his powers were back, to shove me into a cage. The nerve to say I was no longer useful. I was to be cloistered for his peace of mind. He'd given me everything I needed to become myself, to feel safe, and when he got what he wanted, and when he got his power back, his lands back, he stopped trying. He was still good, still Tamlin, but he was just wrong.
He was still good. You're still trying.
I know, she's still defending him.
Even as you're working through this realization that he's been a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Like, the only reason that he ever put time and energy into you is for his
own gain.
Yeah. Breaking the curse.
Yeah.
And then as soon as that was done, he didn't have to try. He didn't have to, like, court you or, like, make you feel some type of, stop defending him.
Yeah. It makes me so sad for her. Like, know your worth. Stop defending him.
She's just getting used.
Yeah.
So hard. And she's finally realizing, like, one, what it is to be, you know, independent and given choice and not having to rely on someone solely. Because truly it was like her savior, too. Like, he saved her from
her mortal life.
Right. But yeah, she's working through all of that and then starts sobbing, of course.
I think she also still, like, I mean, obviously, she also still feels so guilty about killing those.
Oh, yeah.
The Fae under the mountain.
Well,
and that still messes with her.
Yeah, after that whole quote, she starts sobbing and says, I killed them.
Yeah.
And Cass is like, I know.
Yeah.
He doesn't give her, like, pity. He just has this, like, look of understanding. Like, he knows because he's killed a bunch of people himself and knows that sort of, like, you know, remorse and grief and stuff. And then as soon as, you know, in a blink of an eye, Rhys is wrapped around her.
Yeah, like right after she says, I killed them, he's like, I'm here.
Yeah, Cass goes off and trains with Azriel, and Rhys cocoons her in his wings. Cocoons her in his wings, and he just is there to calm her down. Like, he knows that she's hella vulnerable now. Oh, and all of this, though, while she's working out those emotions, she's, like, punching flames through the freaking gloves.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Down to Cassian's hands.
And Cassian's like, I'm fine.
He's like, it's good if you want to keep going. Like, no big deal.
Yeah. I just have third-degree burn blisters on my hands, but I'm fine.
They're fake. It'll heal fast. No, but yeah. She's burning holes with her emotional punching. But Rhys calms her down.
Yeah.
And he's like, you know, you either have to accept it or let it wreck you. Like, you have to accept that you did this. It's done.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do about it. So either live with it or it's going to destroy you.
Yeah, and he says something along the lines of, like, you're going to feel this way every single day of your life.
Yeah,
like,
it's not going to go away.
And you got a long life now, bitch.
Yeah.
So get over it.
It's
not get over it,
soon, but right.
Deal with it.
But, like, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
You have to move on. You can't just sit and fester in this emotion.
Yeah.
And he talks about how he still deals with stuff too, and like his recurring nightmares from under the mountain are both being Amarantha's horror, but also her dying.
Yeah, he said
Feyre
something
dying.
like, he still has nightmares that he or someone in his inner circle is her horse still.
Yeah.
And then his other nightmare is, her, like, snapping Feyre's neck or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, I'm going to disclaim real quick. We're recording slightly earlier than we have in the past. You might hear my child, so sorry about it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that can be heard from here.
Probably. It's fine.
It is okay. But then he tries to get Feyre to, like, summon his darkness. Mm-hmm. And when she can't, he does. And you can hear Cass, like, oh! But they keep training. Like, the whole room is dark. Yeah. And Feyre's like, it's probably a training exercise at this point. Fight in the darkness.
Good luck.
Good luck.
I mean, Fae probably have better eyesight than us mortals do.
Well, and these Illyrian warriors with their hot tot bods.
I know.
They definitely have the training to fight in the dark.
To fight.
They can do lots of things in the dark, let's be real.
Woo.
It's not even to the juiciest parts yet. Yes. So that all goes down.
Yeah.
She's having these grand revelation healing moments, which is wonderful. She's needed them. And then the training with Cassian continues, like, daily.
Yeah.
I think she's doing that in the mornings and then training with Rhys magic-wise.
Yeah.
In the afternoons.
In the afternoon.
Yeah. And then
they get an invite.
They get an invite.
They finally hear something from Summer Court.
Mm-hmm.
And they're invited.
They are invited. It's just going to be Rhys, Amryn, and Feyre.
Yeah. More isn't allowed. No, sorry.
More.
We learned this later. Never mind.
Okay.
But Cassian notes that he's worried that the invite to Summer Court is a trap, and that they've, like, contacted Hyber and.
Yeah, he worries about that, and Cassian's not allowed to go because he made some sort of scene the last time he was there.
Yeah, I think that's talked about a little bit later, but.
I think
maybe it's not.
I don't know. Regardless, while they're doing it, the three of them, Cassian is supposed to go to the Mortal Lands and check on things to see if the queens have responded. But they need to prep for it, and Rhys and Feyre just flirt and hardcore all the time
all
now.
All
the time. They're constantly flirting and bickering, and it's like this banter that's really cute. And underlying all of it is like, I love you. They're getting
heavy panting.
Yeah, exactly. You know, that's what they want to do if they aren't already. But yeah, they are freaking prepping to go. And Feyre is meant to play the part of Rhys's plaything. Like his new toy.
Yeah.
When they go to the Summer Court.
Mm-hmm.
They want it to seem like he took her from Tamlin and now she's his possession.
And he just tells her what to do and she does it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the air she's supposed to put on.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, is that what the Prithian thinks she is? I mean, I guess. Like, she came and sacrificed herself for Tamlin and now she's already moved on to Rhys, is what it looks like from the outside, I guess.
Well, and what I don't understand about that, like, her pretending is that she just told Tamlin she left of her own free will.
Yeah.
So why...
Well, maybe...
Why would you want to, like, I don't know.
Maybe it's the air of, like, you know, she moved on from her feelings from Tamlin and went to Rhys willingly. Like, wants to be his.
True.
You know?
Yeah.
And she doesn't want to seem like she's conniving and strategizing in any way. She wants to just be
that makes
this,
sense.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're just my arm candy, basically. Yeah. You don't have any big ideas.
Have a brain.
Right.
Which, I mean...
Well...
she kind of doesn't.
You might not be wrong there. But then they go, and it's to Adriata?
I don't know.
Adriata is how I think my brain says it.
That's how my brain says it, I think, too.
And it's beautiful.
It is.
It's beautiful.
I would love to go there, too.
It's overlooking the sea. Mm-hmm. The Summer Court shtick is water. Magic.
Yeah. I feel like they're just on, like, a giant beach.
Yeah, and the
whole city.
And the palace is, you know, on some sort of cliff face above it.
Yeah.
It seems like.
Yeah.
But they get there, and Feyre's like, damn.
Yeah.
This is pretty.
All right. I could hang out here for a little bit.
Not so bad. And we meet Tarquin.
Yeah. Tarquin is what I call him.
Tarquin. I say Tarquin. So
right,
now we don't know
I'm
what
gonna
to say.
Tarquin.
Which one is it, guys? Tell us.
You can say whatever you want in your pretty little brain. Sir Tartar. Not to be confused with Sir Tam Tam.
Another T name. Yeah, he's the High Lord, but he's relatively new at it.
Yeah,
he just got his promotion.
Young little chap.
He's a young guy. He's only 80.
Only 80.
Yeah, he's a child.
Feyre also, like, feels something when she sees him. Like, she says that she, like, remembers him.
Yeah.
And she says it's like some fragment of me knew it had come from him.
Right.
From here.
It's very much akin to, like, her sensing the ring in the Weaver's cottage. Like, the magic calls to like.
Yeah.
And so when she sees Tarquin, she's like, wait a minute, I know you in some way. And he's a little creepy.
Yeah.
He's a little creepy. He's hardcore checking out Feyre.
Yeah.
Like, looking her head to toe. And Rhys does some quip at some point along the lines of, like, yeah, I know her breasts are magnificent or something.
It's funny. I never really thought of him as creepy. Like, I don't know.
Tarquin? I think he's admiring her.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not creepy so much as, like, he just finds her attractive. But he won't stop looking her head over.
Well, yeah, like, now that you've said that, it's a little creepy. But, like, the way he talks to her a little later on, I feel like he's very charming.
I mean,
like,
he feels kind, but I also, who knows? I mean, he's a High Lord. He might be having motives.
It's true.
I mean, Rhys being, hella powerful and scary to everyone else would be a good ally to have.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, he won't stop ogling at Feyre. And back to, Rhys's comment of her breasts being magnificent. She throws back, like, I thought it was my mouth you admired or something. And I'm like, yes, Feyre playing the part well. Like, she's also starting to lean into this, like, I'm gonna, I don't know, be confident and like a little arrogant myself and like starts playing that role.
It suits her well.
It does. I like it for her. And we also meet Cressida. Is that right? Is that how you say it?
Sure.
What'd you say?
I don't know.
Okay.
That's one of those names that I go, Cressida.
Cressida. We'll go there.
I think my brain probably was just calling her Cressida, but Cressida makes more sense because of the E.
Yeah. E-I.
The E-I.
The Cressida. Anyway.
E-I-E-I-O.
Cressy. She's the princess.
Yeah.
She's the princess.
And we meet Varian.
Varian's her brother.
Her brother, who was also the captain of the guard for Summer Court.
Yeah, he commands their armies.
Yep.
And he's grumpy.
Yeah.
He's really suspicious of all of them, which like fair there a lot. Especially
the politics. I mean,
I know.
In all of this, I would be suspicious of anyone.
Yeah, truly. And I feel like in this initial interaction, too, Cressida drops something about, like, worrying about backlash from Tamlin, because everyone knows that Rhys has her.
Yeah.
And for them to host them and be, like, kind and generous would put on a bad air to Tamlin. They're worried about that kind of this whole visit.
Yeah, it's also said that, basically, like, Feyre is Tamerlane's property because she was to wed him, and that literally anyone could tell him where she is and he could just come snatch her.
Or if Tamlin, like, requested that the High Lord of the Summer Court give her to him, then he would have to. Yeah. Otherwise, it'd be like an act of war or something if he held her away from Tamlin.
Which is so disgusting.
I know. And
disgusting.
Them sort of hinting at or alluding to the idea of handing her over to Tamlin, Rhys comes back with a threat. He gets pissed that they say something like, if we had to, we would. Mm-hmm. And they're talking about how everyone made sacrifices. Cressida is the one who is sort of poking about Tamlin. And Tarquin says, Cressida made many sacrifices on behalf of her people. Do not take her caution personally. And Rhys says, we all made sacrifices, and you now sit at this table with your family because of the ones Feyre made. So you will forgive me, Tarquin, if I tell your princess that if she sends word to Tamlin, or if any of your people try to bring her to him, their lives will be forfeit. My gratitude only goes so far, says Tarquin. And he's like, it's not a threat, it's a promise, is what Rhys says. Like, watch your back. Don't touch Feyre.
Sassy little Feyre jumps in with this little quip of, no wonder No wonder immortality never gets old. Just like, you guys, stop it.
Which actually, like, works out. I feel like it breaks the tension. Yeah. Because Tarquin's like, don't fucking threaten me in my own home. We're being, like, hostesses.
Yeah. Hosts. And Rhys gives her a little, like, nudge or something that he's like, good job.
Approval.
Good job.
Yeah. Yeah. I also think in all of that, too, they do say that they would fight against the King of Hybern. They just don't want to have any internal conflicts.
Yeah, they say that they'll fight against Hybern, but not in a war against Night Court and Spring Court.
Right. Yeah.
And then I think it's Tarquin that says, High Lords have gone to war for less. Doing it over an unusual female would be nothing unexpected.
Yeah. Freaking Tamlin.
Freaking Tamlin.
And Feyre's like, he wouldn't do that, right?
Yeah.
And Rhys is like, I don't know.
Actually, maybe. I don't know.
Watch your back. He has tantrums.
Feyre also decides when they first get there, I forgot to mention this earlier, basically her plan is just to flirt with Tarquin to get what she wants.
Yeah.
Like, she's gonna use her body.
Yeah. And her charm and otherwise make him feel important and, like, see where it goes.
Yeah.
I think they come back from this initial interaction and Rhys is like, you know what? I like these people. Like, Varian's kind of a douche, but, like, even he would get along with Cassian and they'd be buds eventually. Like, he's like, they're chill.
Yeah.
Don't make an enemy out of them. Like, yes, find the book, but don't get caught because I don't want to lose their friendship and their allyship.
Yeah.
And Feyre says something like, okay, well, what if I have to fuck him? She's just, like, trying to poke at him and egg him on, I think, you know, see what grinds his gears after he just defended her life.
Yeah. And he goes on and says, you can ride him if you like.
Yeah. Do whatever you need to.
Do what you gotta do.
There's so much building sexual tension between these two. It's insane. And they just keep feeding the fire.
I think that in that moment, too, when he said, ride him if you like, I think she knew that he was kind of BSing a little bit.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
He doesn't really want her to do that.
No. But if you had to, I mean, I think he would, like, you know, not be pissed at her. If
support
it came
her
to that.
decision.
Yeah, but he doesn't want it to happen.
Yeah.
He would be sad, jealous about that. And then he tries to get her to light a candle, and she starts making water instead.
Yeah, she makes little... No, that's later. Never mind.
She, like, sends water up into the air and makes them look like stars. Like, it's like a bunch of droplets and then throws it at Ryson's face or something. Recent, sorry. And it seems like, she mentions that her power seems to be, like, stronger. Her water power seems to be stronger because they're in the Summer Court.
Yeah. Do you think it's because they're in the Summer Court or because she's closer to Tarquin? So his power is like, ooh, my friend, I'll be strong now.
I feel like inherently both, right?
Probably.
I know that Rhys at one point had mentioned that, like, the High Lord's powers are associated with their court in some capacity. So I'm sure the land itself gives him his power, and he's probably strongest there than other places.
Yeah.
I don't know, make shit up. So I'm sure, yes. Like, I'm sure if she encountered Tarquin in a different location, it would still bolster her power. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
But then they go to the pleasure barge. Is that what it's called? I'm pretty sure that's what it's called.
It might be. I don't remember.
Oh, and I questioned that. Like, what the fuck is that, Tarquin? It's like his boat? Question mark?
Boat. Okay, but
pleasure
before that, during this whole water candle thing, Feyre tells Rhys that, like, she would go back to Spring Court.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about if she had to. If it came to war.
Yeah, if Tamlin wanted to go to war over her, she would go back to Spring Court so that Rhys wouldn't have to fight.
I know. And he's like, do you want to? And she's like, no, obviously. But, like, I would.
But I would, for you.
Yeah.
Because I love you.
Obviously. It's underlying everything you say to him.
Anyways, they go to the
Pleasure barge.
I'm
pretty sure that's what they call it because I was shook by that name. I was like, it sounds like a fucking brothel.
Yeah, I'm like, I didn't know anything. I just said that they went to dinner.
Pleasure barge. It does sound scandalous, but it's not. It's just, I think, a boat. I don't know.
Sure. That's what it sounds like, yeah. Because there's like
described, and they go down. Anyway, they go, and Feyre's hamming it up to
She's laying it on heavy Tartar.
She sure is. She's flirting with him.
She's also trying to, this whole time, like, I would assume in every interaction she's having, she's trying to feel for the book.
Yeah. Feel him out. See if she can get any sort of information from him.
Yeah. Or even just feel the book in general, like where it is.
Yeah, she's scanning her environment. Yeah. Like, anyone whispering to me?
You trying to pull me over there?
Hey. Yeah, and he mentioned something about all of the troves that his family has of all of their riches. She's like, you should show me.
I would love to see that.
It'd be so fun if you just took me. And he's like, you trying to steal? And she's like, yeah, totally. Plays it off like, sarcastically, I'm pretty sure. But while all that's going down, freaking Rhys.
Yeah, he's over there flirting away with
Cressida.
Cressida. A little cress.
A little crescent wave moon? I don't know.
Crescent wave moon.
Yes. And he's not paying any attention to Feyre.
She's completely big jealous.
Even when she tells Tarquin, like, you'd be easy to fall in love with.
Yeah.
But even easier to be friends with or something.
And he says, I wouldn't mind either one.
Yeah. She's flirting hard. But then she gets jelly.
Yeah, she does, which I would too, let's be real.
Yeah, Cressida's all over him. She's like in his lap.
Yeah.
Rubbing on him.
And she's jealous, so she goes and pouts. And secretly, she's hoping he's going to come for her and be like, I'm sorry, baby.
Even though the whole point of going there is for her to find something.
Yeah.
And I feel like he's like, yeah, use your womanhood to lure him if you have to. And then she gets all offended that he's playing along.
Right.
And
I feel like, once again, an instance of Feyre not having much of a brain. Like, wouldn't you know that he's just trying to distract everyone? Like,
right. And you know that Rhys has to be a different person outside of Dolores. Like, he can't show who he truly is to people, or else they won't see him as this terrifying High Lord of the Night Court.
Yeah.
But she's all offended, and she waits for an hour all by herself.
She also, when she goes out, I mean, they're outside already, but when she goes to be alone on the deck or whatever, she finds Amren and Varian just sitting in silence together. I'm like, what are you guys doing? They're both just sitting there brooding.
Yeah. It sounds like Amren. They're both just standing next to one another quietly. Like, what's going on with them? And she says, I need to get some air, even though she's already outside.
They're already outside.
Damn it, Feyre.
So she stays until dinner's over for everyone, and everyone leaves.
Yeah.
And she says, I didn't realize I was waiting for him until he didn't come for me.
And describes how unhappy she is.
Yeah.
Like, that whole fucking interaction between Cressida and Rhys makes her realize she's really unhappy. Yeah. I'm like, okay, relax. Like, you guys aren't even an established thing, one.
No.
Two, like, a man is ruling your emotions again. Like, yes, I know you've been unhappy, but you're starting to make progress. Don't get all broody because Rhys is acting.
Right.
But, anyway. So, yeah, that happens. And then the next morning.
She goes and sulks to her room before the next morning.
Oh.
And takes note that Rhys isn't in his room.
Yeah, she's like,
it's so silent in there. Where could he be?
They absolutely have to be banging.
That is the only option.
Not here, because he didn't want me to hear it, but they're doing it somewhere. And so the next morning she avoids him entirely.
Yeah.
She doesn't go out for breakfast. She sits in her bath.
Playing with the water. She makes little, like, animals out of the water and floats them around the room.
Creating a water circus.
Yeah.
A zoo, maybe?
Or a circus.
Yeah, it could be either.
Sure.
Yeah, why not? She's in there playing with her bath toys, avoiding Rhys. And when she does come out, everyone's, like, leaving the room after having talked about war plans.
Yeah.
Like, the whole... Oh, go ahead.
Can I cut in for a second?
Yeah, please.
When she's sitting in the bath, or no, this is after the night before, sorry, when she comes back to her room and realizes Rhys isn't in his room. There's a quote. She said, "It would have just been a relief to think that for a moment he'd been as lonely as me." Like, coming to the conclusion that they don't owe each other anything, and he doesn't owe her being in his room and not being doing whatever they're doing with Cressida.
Yeah.
But I'm like, girl, why can't you just, like, why you gotta bring people into your misery? Like, oh, it would have just been nice if he had been as lonely as me. Poor me.
And also, my brain went somewhere else. He's also demonstrated that he's been lonely for his entire time being a High Lord. Yeah. He has completely isolated himself from any prospective lady in order to protect them. Yeah. Has freaking held the weight of Valaris on his shoulders for under the mound for 50 fucking years. Yeah. Like, yeah, he's really happy. Yeah. That and it was all situational. You were acting all happy and giddy about Tarquin, so you weren't lonely in that situation.
And you literally told him where Rhys could hear you that it would be easy to fall in love with him. Right. So, like, get over yourself, Feyre.
Over it. Get off your high horsey. Move on.
God.
I know.
Anyways.
And then she acts like a toddler and hides from him for a while.
She's throwing a fit like Sir Tam Tam.
I know. Yeah. She's pulling out a tammy tantrum.
She is having a tammy tantrum.
Yeah, and then so much so that when Rhys and Amren and Tarquin and all the Summer Court come out after having talked about the war, she ignores Rhys completely. Yeah. Gives him the cold shoulder.
She's like, I'm not even going to look at you.
But then starts giving away smiles to Tarquin that she's never given to Rhys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's never smiled at him. Yeah. Excuse me?
Why? How could you not?
Look at those abs.
The taut, rock hard abs. That doesn't bring a smile to your face,
Come on, Feyre.
Jeez Louise.
My goodness.
My goodness. But, then she starts flirting hardcore with Mr. Tartar. And they go to see the family treasures.
Yeah. Before that, Rhys gives her, when she's ignoring him, he gives her a little brain tickle that she takes as, like, be careful as she's going off with Tarquin.
Yeah, mild warning. Yeah. Even if they're grumpy with each other.
Yeah, he's like, I still love you, be careful.
Yeah. I love you dumb, jealous bitch. But yeah, they go to see treasures, and Feyre's like, scoping, trying to see if she hears any sweet whisperings.
Like, do I feel a book pulling me?
And there's a whole bunch of crap in there. There's, armor and swords and jewelry. And all sorts of things.
Yeah. And she asks Tarquin, what do you think the most valuable thing in here is?
Yeah. And
this is where I wrote, swoon. Because he says, he's like, are you thinking of stealing? And she's like, no, I would never. And then he says, I would say I'm looking at the most valuable thing in here.
Yeah, it's her.
Swoon.
Oh. He does seem very charming and kind. He does. He would be a good guy to fall in love with.
I forgot that about him from my first read.
Yeah. But he seems lovely. Yeah. And he says that she'd be easy to fall in love with, too. Mm-hmm. So they have that interaction. Yeah. And he also talks about, like, wanting her to be an emissary for the Summer Court, too. Like, keep up your duties with the Night Court, but also work for us. Like, he wants to bring her into the fold. Yeah. And, of course, she doesn't know what to say because, so on. And mentions he's not going to tell Tamlin that she was there.
Yeah, he actually promises her that he won't say anything. Yeah. He also says about Rhys that he's, like, notoriously hard to work with, and other High Lords have warned him about, him in general, I guess.
Dealing with Rhys.
And then he's like, but he spared me under the mountain because of the whole, the person whose brain he melted and
and didn't tell was the whole from truth. Summer Court. Yeah, he mentioned that the Summer Court was gathering armies to build a resistance against Amarantha,
yeah.
And Rhys didn't tell her any of that. Yeah. So he feels like he owes Rhys something. Mm-hmm. And also it feels like they're starting to be buds, and Tarquin sort of lets on to that too. Doesn't he give her a necklace?
He does, yeah.
One of his heirlooms. Yeah.
Jeweled.
He's like, this is
necklace.
fitting. Dark black like your soul. Just kidding.
I think it's more of a, like, this will fit well in night court.
Yeah, he's not casting judgment on Feyre. Yeah, he gives her that. And so they go through several troves, and she doesn't feel anything.
Yeah.
And then she gets back to the room, and Rhys is there.
Mm-hmm.
And he confronts her.
Yeah.
He's like, what the hell? Why are you ignoring me?
What is wrong with you?
What is wrong with you?
Why are you being such a boob?
And she's like, you fucked her, didn't you? Or something along those lines. And he's like, no, dude. We literally went and walked around town and I let her talk.
Yeah.
It's to see if I could glean any information about the summer court. And he mentions her having said that Tarquin was easy to love and says something along the lines of, like, I'll never be that person to anyone. Like, he won't be someone who's perceived as easy to love, and that's sad. He's jealous. He says he's jealous of, him, Tarquin mostly, is what he says, which is all a lie.
I have a quote.
Is it the most famous one?
No, actually, it's not. Sorry. So Rhys says that what got under my skin is that you smiled at him. She says, you are jealous. Blah, blah, blah.
Because, again, she hasn't smiled.
This is literally all of what you just said. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I'm sorry if I ruined your quote.
No, there might be more. Hang on. I'm looking.
Okay.
He says, I was jealous of that. Wait.
She's trying to draw it out of him. Like, you were jealous, weren't you? Even though she was obviously real jealous, too.
Okay. I am going to read this. I was jealous that I'm not that sort of person for anyone. To her, you'd be easy to fall in love with.
Right.
I was jealous that I'm not that sort of person for anyone. The summer court has always been neutral. They only showed backbone during those years under the mountain. I spared Tarquin's life because I'd heard how he wanted to even out the playing field between the High Fae and Lesser Fae. I've been trying to do that for years, unsuccessfully, but I spared him for that alone. So yes, I was jealous of him because it will always be easy for him, and he will never know what it is to look at the night sky and wish.
Yeah, the Court of Dreams.
Yeah.
I know. I forgot that Tarquin was talking to Feyre about her family, too, during that pleasure barge. And she was he asked if in war if she would go protect the humans, and she said her family for sure, but it wouldn't be a bad thing to disrupt the mortals. And I forgot Tarquin had mentioned he wanted to balance the power of High Fae and otherwise.
Yeah. But he's the minority in that. The other High Fae look at him like,
idiot.
You're dumb and young.
Yeah, you 80-year-old.
How could you?
Child.
You friggin' child.
But poor Rhys. I mean, he feels like he, can't be that easy, smooth guy.
I know. It breaks my heart for him because he's so good.
I know. He's so good. And he's too complicated and hard to deal with for anyone to feel that way about him.
Yeah.
And then, of course, that chapter wraps up with the quote that everybody loves and knows. Feyre says to him, this is page 337, to the people who look at the stars and wish, Rhys, and he responds, to the stars who listen and the dreams that are answered. I know. I feel like everyone and their mom has that tattooed on them somewhere. That or the knees.
The knees.
So they share this moment. It reveals a lot about both Rhys and Feyre, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then
we skip forward a little bit. Feyre, they decide that she needs to wander around the city and see if she can't feel where the book is.
Yeah.
While Rhys and Amren work on distracting everyone from what she's doing.
Right. Yeah, so she's wandering on her own and sees
a little building.
A little
shack.
That is only visible at low tide. Otherwise it would be covered. So that's suspicious.
Weird.
Who lives there?
And she says, I couldn't tear my eyes away from it. Like it was a little piece of home.
Yeah, because it looked like her hovel. also.
No, I think it was the draw of the book. I think in that moment she knew the book was in there.
Yeah, if she felt something from that building.
Yeah. Sorry, my chair.
Yeah, the chairs are a little rackety. Sorry about it. But once she finds that, she's like, it's got to be it. Yeah. But I need to make sure. Mm-hmm. And so the next time they interact with Tarquin and Cressida and stuff, I think they're in their like family dining room.
Yeah.
And she asks him about it, and
she's like, would you show it to me?
Yeah, they all get suspicious.
Yeah.
All of them.
Yeah.
So she's like, oh shit, and looks into his brain to hear his thoughts. And of course he's like, why is she asking these things? Like he's suspicious of her.
Yeah, and she plants these little seeds in his head, like.
Yeah, and the way that that's described is cool. Like, she's using parts of him, like sea breeze and brine, to, like, make it feel like it's original thoughts. Yeah. And that's cool.
It's cool that she's able to do that. I don't think that, like, Rhys would be able to do that because he doesn't have...
The magic. Yeah, that's true.
The summer magic.
And also, she, like, hasn't really done that at all and just, like, goes for it. She's like, balls to the wall. I've never really practiced. Hopefully he doesn't end up brain dead.
Fuck it up.
Hopefully he is alive after this. I don't actually know. But it seems like she's confident in it. Like, she's just going with her gut and feeling the magic, like, letting it lead her. Mm-hmm. Which is really cool. I think Rhys, at the same time, is wiggling on into Varian and Cressida's brains to make sure they don't
suspect anything.
So yeah.
Well, and Tarquin says something like, well, I'll take you unless Rhys needs you for something, and Rhys says to take her, basically, like, oh, my lady, he calls her my lady, is my whole point in this sentence, what I'm trying to get at, and I'm all, ooh, my lady.
Right. And Tarquin is talking about taking her to the mainland, but he won't take her to the little house.
Yeah.
Their hesitation and, suspicion was enough to answer the question of
what's in there.
Yeah. And so they get back at the end of it all to their rooms, and they talk a little bit, and Rhys knew that she, like, demodied her way into freaking Tarquin's brain, and he's like, damn, girl.
Way to go. Shit. Oh, snap.
Ooh.
Oh.
I did the same thing. Can you believe that?
Look at us go.
That whole court is idiots. We can do whatever we want. And she feels like regret. She feels remorse.
Yeah, she feels horrible because she likes Tarquin.
Yeah.
And he's nice to her.
She just violated his brain bits. Yeah. And Rhys is like, yeah, it never gets better. Like, you always feel that way when you get in people's brains and change their thoughts. But it's for the better. Like, as much as it feels wrong, it's for the better.
Yeah. And you're not hurting anyone.
No.
I mean, not physically.
Yeah.
When you do that.
Right. And so they start making a plan.
They start making a plan to get into the little freaking shack.
Yeah, they talk about having to learn the guards' rotations and stuff, and Rhys says, you think like an Illyrian to Feyre.
Yeah.
And I was like, this girl, she's grown so much in the last few chapters of being with the Night Court.
Yeah.
She's, like, becoming cunning and, like, confident and strategic and all these things. And it's, like, a new version of Feyre.
It was noted earlier, I forgot to talk about this.
That's okay.
But the tattoo that she has from the bond, the bargain tattoo, has markings similar to, like, Az and Cass's tattoos. So they're, like, Illyrian.
And Rhys, too.
And Rhys, obviously. Yeah. But I wonder if maybe that's, like, if she somehow gets thoughts like that from her tattoo. Like,
maybe.
It's soaking into her somehow. I don't know. It was just a little...
That is an interesting thought. I mean, I feel like at one point she does mention it to Rhys, like the tattoos and how, I don't know. I feel like he says something about the Illyrian tattoos, not something to that effect, but like he fashioned hers off of that.
I think that she was actually talking to Cassian.
Okay.
I don't know.
Anyway.
I have it written down, but I don't know
maybe
where it is.
Because they're like, traditional Illyrian tattoos, they come with some sort of magic of their own.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Just made me think a little bit.
Interesting. But, yeah.
So anyways, they're making a plan. They gotta learn the guard rotation, figure out what they're gonna do to distract the guards.
And they go out and do that night. They're like, all right, we're gonna do that. Next day, Feyre goes and hangs out with Tarquin. Mm-hmm. And he's showing her the mainland. And she feels guilty the whole time.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, man, I've lied to this guy. My buddy. Good old Tartar.
Poor Tartar.
Poor Tartar. In a different world, I would be in love with him because he's so easy to love. What a nice guy.
And the abs.
And the abs. She hasn't seen his yet, but we can only assume. Yeah, she feels guilty the whole time, but then as night approaches, it's freaking game time.
Yeah.
It is on like Donkey Kong. Ew, I'm sorry. Please don't ever let me say it again.
Gross.
Okay.
Well, and the plan is that her and Amryn are going to go in the building. Mm-hmm. Reese is going to be up in the sky, keeping watch.
Yeah.
Distracting guards. Yeah. Keeping them hidden.
Right. Being a boss.
Yeah.
Murdering if you need to.
Couldn't you just, like, wrap the whole shack in shadows and
you'd think.
No one would know?
Or glamour them?
Yeah.
Why aren't they glamored?
Come on, guys.
I mean, I don't think that's actually what ends up triggering the guards, though. I think it's, like, magic.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like the ripple of magic. Anyway, so they...
I don't know.
So Reese winnows them on over relatively close to this little shack.
Yeah.
And they have to tread. What am I trying to say?
Tread?
Sure. Tread through
Trudge?
Trudge. Sludge. I think is... Anyway. Sludge was the second half of that word.
They gotta trudge through the sludge.
Yeah, you know, right? You trudge sometimes. So they go through and it's like real sticky and gross.
Of course.
And
I mean, all this shit's been underwater for the last,
right.
you know.
It's squelching.
Hours.
Well, truly.
Yeah.
The tide comes and goes constantly, so
yeah.
it's just constantly moist.
Don't ever say that word on this podcast ever again.
I'm sorry. But then Feyre, they're like, where is this? What's here? There's nothing in the shack. But then she starts, you know, following that little kernel of Tarquin that's inside of her, the magic, and realizes the door's under them. Mm-hmm. So they have to start digging. And she's like, there's things crawling on me. And I'm just going to try to not think about that.
Ew.
I know. Can you imagine what kind of, like, creepy ocean crawlies are up in that mud?
I mean, it's probably just, like, crabs and stuff.
Crabs. No big deal.
Just crabs.
Or
worst that happens is you'll get pinched.
Prehistoric shell creatures. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I can see it in my brain.
I don't know. I feel like little crawly ocean creatures don't freak me out as much as spiders do.
I mean, it's essentially sea spiders, though.
Yeah, but they're not spiders.
They are, almost.
Shut up.
I'm not trying to have a freaking creepy sea creature on me at all. Either of them.
It wouldn't bother me, I guess.
You want to be friends with them?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Anyways. So, the door. Feyre touches it. And it starts, like, sucking her life out of her. Mm-hmm. And,
it's a lead door.
A lead door.
And it's said that the lead is supposed to help keep in the force of the book. Right. And to preserve it.
Yeah. And she has to convince this door that she's Tarquin, basically. Mm-hmm. And goes so far as to become him.
Yeah. And I have questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
Did she shapeshift into him?
For sure.
The first time?
For sure. Oh, yeah.
Because I wrote it as, like, oh, she becomes him in her brain. No, but then the more I read, I was like, wait. Did she actually become him?
I actually have a quote.
Cool.
Yes, she does. She becomes him. And recognizes that that's the magic she used. And is like, I don't want to think about where that came from, essentially. Yeah. But yeah, there's a quote. Let me read it.
That makes sense now.
Yes. It's on page 349.
Okay.
She's saying to the door in her thoughts, I am Tarquin, I am summer. I am warmth. I am sea and sky and planted field. I became... Every smile he'd given me became the crystalline blue of his eyes, the brown of his skin. I felt my own skin shift, felt my bones stretch and change until I was him. And it was a set of male hands I now possessed, now pushed against the door, until the essence of me became what I had tasted in that inner mental shield of his, sea and sun and brine. I did not give myself a moment to think of what power I might have just used, did not allow any part of me that wasn't Tarquin to shine through. So she very much embodies him.
I don't know how I missed the whole, now I have stretch. Male hands and my bones are stretchy.
I mean, I have man hands too, Feyre, but...
I don't know how I must have been tired when I was reading this section.
That's okay. Yeah, she completely becomes him. And as soon as the door opens, like, shakes it off. She's like, oh, that was fucking weird. Because, well, it's Tamlin's power.
Yeah.
And it's...
Gross.
You don't want to be another person. That's weird.
Well, and the door has... I mean, the whole... Everything in this building, I feel like, has to be convinced that she is Tarquin. So don't think about it.
Right. Just It's fine. Don't worry about it.
But anywho, the door opens.
Yeah, it does. Once she becomes him.
And lo and behold, there's a friggin' spiral staircase they gotta go down.
Yeah, I know.
Ew.
It's probably slippery with like freaking algae and shit.
Well, maybe not. Maybe the lead door kept all the water out. Because it did say it was to preserve the book.
But also, when they get down to... There's the second door that they have to open. She doesn't become Tarquin again, but she, like, convinces it. Yeah. And there's water. There's, like, drainage holes in the hallway and stuff.
Yeah, you're right.
So, I don't know. Regardless, they get through the second door, and the book... There's a little lead box.
Yeah.
And seemingly some force field around it. Like, the water is stopped dead around this force field. And
Amren says, so they can, like, feel the tendrils of power coming off of this book, even through the box that it's in that's made of lead to contain the power.
It sounds scary.
And Amren says, I never saw the cauldron, but it must be terrible if even a grain of its power feels like this.
Yeah, and Amren's wildly magical. Yeah.
Terrifying.
Yeah. So that's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, if all magic is supposed to have come from the cauldron, like, makes sense. But that's a lot. That's intense. And Amren's like, go get it. go on.
Good luck. You got this. I believe in you.
Yeah, it has to be Feyre because, it's attached to Tarquin's power.
Yeah.
So she grabs it and it starts talking to her.
Uh-huh.
And it's like,
Who are you?
What are you? Who are you?
Yeah.
What the fuck
Do I know you?
Yeah. And she's like,
where'd you come from?
I'm Tarquin. I'm Summer. I'm C.
She says, I am Tarquin, I am High Lord, I am your master.
Mm-hmm.
And then the box shuts the fuck up.
But then it says, she grabs it and puts it in her pocket or something.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes,
liar! It actually goes, liar!
Yeah, it's probably
because it said that it was like an ancient voice that hissed.
Oh, well, I was wrong entirely then.
Liar!
I think I'd rather it be that, but whatever.
Same.
Liar. And the door slams shut.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
That would be
Can you imagine?
Horrifying.
First of all.
Yeah.
Feyre has trauma.
Right. Of being trapped.
Of being
prisoner.
Trapped.
Yeah.
They're also in a dark, creepy place, like, where she's got the trauma from being trapped.
For sure.
But also... Water. You're underwater.
Yeah.
Like, you're under the ocean right now.
And they had limited time because the tide was coming back.
Yeah.
Like, they needed to get out as quickly as they could.
Yeah.
In order not to drown.
Yeah. Ugh. And now they're trapped.
That's, like, my worst nightmare. I feel like drowning sounds like a really terrible way to die.
I mean, they're trapped, however, in the room that...
That's true.
...doesn't have water in it. So they would be fine, but... Well, Tarquin is going to find out that you're in there.
Yeah. I'm sure them opening all the doors was setting off alarms left and right.
Probably.
You know what I mean?
Probably.
You would think. You would think.
You would think.
I mean, anyway. So the door slams shut, and that's terrifying. Mm-hmm. And Amren goes and, like, uses some crazy magic. She starts, like, touching the door, and a bunch of symbols come up.
Mm-hmm. Did you just have a thought?
Yeah, I did. But not about this.
Yeah. We'll remember.
I hopefully will. But anyway, yeah, she's doing all these, like, ancient symbols.
Yeah.
And essentially pulls the door away, but has to keep holding on to it.
Yeah. Feyre, like, says that, Amren's hand is still glowing when she gets to her, or when she emerges from the water, because she gets pulled underwater.
Yeah.
And then she realizes that, she is still using her power to hold the door open.
Yes.
So they gotta get through the door so that she can let go and they can friggin' run.
Right. And Amren's really little.
Yeah, so she's tiny.
She
hops on Feyre's back like a little spider monkey.
Well, I think Feyre grabs her.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't give her a choice.
Get up here, bitch.
She's like, clearly you're not going to make it out of this. So she freaking straps Amren on her back, and they start trudging through the tunnel to the staircase. But water is just dumping in.
Yeah.
And
they get stuck.
The second
door won't open.
Yeah.
And they're underwater at this point, and Amren, is drowning. She can't use her powers.
Feyre is underwater.
Yeah, they're all drowning.
They're both just fucked up.
They're stuck.
And Amren's trying really hard with the symbols again on the second door. Yeah. Feyre's like punching it. And I'm like, what's that gonna do? Try your magic. I don't know. She's like pushing her body against it. I'm like, yeah, you're underwater trying to. I guess that's probably part of it.
Yeah. Well, and she's probably like panicking.
Yeah.
You can't think rationally. Can't be like, maybe I should try to burn it.
Maybe
I don't know.
I can melt lead with my. I don't know what the burn. Anyway.
Just as Feyre's about to give up, though.
Yeah.
Bye-bye, door. The door gets ripped off.
Yeah.
Who could it be?
Who could it be?
You think Rysand, right? Rysand.
You would think.
No.
No.
Freaking water wraiths.
The water wraiths!
This
guys.
part made me so happy.
Back!
Call back to book 1.
Call back to the tithe.
Where when she gives the water wraith jewelry.
Yeah.
And they say, like, oh, we owe you forever.
Yeah, wasn't this book, though? Because it's after Amarantha.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, yeah. All right.
Anyway, so the water wraiths. Yeah, it's the water wraiths remembering Feyre giving her
jewelry. Yeah, and now they owe her life debt. Life debt.
Yeah,
Jesus. Life death.
Which one is it? But yeah, they in that interaction, the water wraith said, "Well, I'll never forget this ever."
Yeah,
and sure enough, the water wraiths come. They get him out. They take him to a little bit of land, whatever.
Yeah, they're like in a cove or something.
Yeah, they smack their chests. Both Amren and Feyre are puking up water. And then when they look up, the way that they describe the wraiths, I was like, ooh, that's eerie.
Same.
It's like
creepy,
big, black, glowing eyes or whatever, just like kind of peering out of the water.
Yeah.
And they go, our sister's debt's paid.
Bye, bitch.
And wriggle away.
Yeah.
Go then swimming. Do you think they look kind of like mermaids?
Yeah, but not like the like cartoon version of mermaids that we think of. I think they look like the like creepy versions of mermaids that you see in like more like sirens than mermaids.
Yeah, that seems right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, they leave.
Yeah.
And Rhys comes and finds them.
He does. He's like, what are you guys
what the
doing?
hell are you guys doing?
Yeah.
We gotta go.
Yeah, you set off all sorts of red flags, and I had to go freaking knock out guards to get them to stop to go tell people.
Yeah. And Amren's like, that place, the book, I don't know if it was the book or the building, but it nearly nullified my powers. Like,
yeah.
And if that...
Amren's power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did I say?
No, you said that right. Okay. I'm just accentuating.
Yeah.
Like, it nullified almost hers.
Yeah.
And Amren is, in theory, stronger than Rhys.
Yeah. So that's probably, now that we have talked about that, probably why Feyre couldn't use powers and do anything. Not only because she was panicking because she was drowning, but...
Yeah, I'm sure hers wouldn't have done anything if Amren couldn't.
Yeah.
That's probably true. But yeah, they winnow out of there back to the Night Court. And there's this cute bonding moment between Amren and Feyre. Like, they're both, still recovering. Rhys just, gets them out of there, and they're both still gasping for air and disgusting. And Amren is like, explain. Like, what the hell just happened?
What just happened? I need to know.
And Feyre tells her about the water wraith, and Amren just starts laughing.
She laughs at her,
starts cracking up. Like, only a human in a fae body would have given a fucking disgusting wraith jewels. Like, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Starts laughing, which then, of course, makes Feyre laugh, and they have this cute bonding moment, which I thought was sweet.
I liked it.
Yeah, me too. And then Rhys is like, listen, one more ask before you go to sleep.
You gotta open this box.
Yeah, you gotta open it up, please. Which takes the last tiny bit of her energy that she has, only to find that the freaking book is not something Feyre can read.
Yeah, no,
after all those reading lessons.
A whole different language.
Yeah.
Which we also learned that Rhys had suspicions of, which is like, why didn't you tell anyone?
He's calculating. Yeah.
It makes me mad.
I know. But it's in the holy tongue. Lashon Hakodesh or something. Hakodesh. Anyways.
Lashon Hakodesh.
Yeah. And only Amren recognizes it.
Yeah.
She's like, oh my god.
Oh my god.
That's the holy tongue. Feyre's like, what? And come to find, Rhys suspected it would be, and this is like Amren's language.
Yeah.
From wherever she came from.
Why she's been so involved in all of this.
Yes.
And came to the summer court and
whatever. And he has hopes.
He knew.
Yeah.
Or suspected.
Right.
Sorry.
No, you're good. And he hopes that once she can decode this book, it can also get her home. Like, not only stop the cauldron, but get Amren back to wherever it is she comes from.
Yeah, there's a spell in the book to free her and send her home.
Yeah.
And I guess he also says he didn't tell her because he didn't want to get her hopes up. Mm-hmm. So I guess, hiding it. But
yeah.
just freaking tell someone what your freaking plans are.
Straight up. I know. I don't remember exact context here, but they're talking about Jurian a bit, and ask about, like, would he actually work with the king? Like, why are they resurrecting Jurian?
Yeah, why do we need this mortal? Why does the king want this mortal?
Who fought against Faye?
Yeah.
Why? And they mentioned something about how he might, in order to resurrect Miriam, who he thinks is dead, like, he might help the king if the king helps him get his long-lost love, or whatever. Miriam
but what is Jurian? That still doesn't answer my question about what is Jurian gonna do for you? He's just immortal.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's like a symbol.
Yeah.
Of, like, you know, this person who fought for you that we murdered, like, he's mine now. Yeah. Yeah. He's my subject. I don't know. But yeah. So that all goes down. I have some sort of quote written down real quick if we want to think or see what it is.
Yeah, sure.
But
let's find out.
Yeah. But that had to have been exhausting.
Yeah. Feyre said even that, like, the unlocking the doors and, you know, all of that, like, every time it was sucking a little more of her life away, it sounded like. Yeah.
It was no small feat, that's for sure. But now they have the freaking book, man.
Yeah.
At least half of it, I guess.
Yep, they have
not
the half that they are able to have right now.
Yes. I don't know. Never mind.
All right.
The page number I wrote down is not right, so.
Well, I have something written down for this whole Jurian thing, too, so let me see if mine is anything.
Okay.
Substantial.
The page number that I wrote down, which is confusing to me, is like the last page we read for this section. So I must have mixed it up.
What page is it?
It says 456, which is the last page we read. I don't know, girl. Don't know. Just disregard.
That's weird.
I know. And then when I went to 356, it was talking about the water rates. So I'm not sure.
All right. Well,
I don't know what Pastaniel was up to, but what you got?
Yeah, literally everything we just talked about.
Okay, great.
Jurian believes that Miriam is dead and will help the King of Hybern if he brings her back.
Yeah, which is bringing back up Miriam and Drakon.
Drakon, yeah.
Which was briefly mentioned before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'd do it to get revenge on Drakon for winning her heart.
Yeah.
We'll discuss this later.
Yeah, we do get more information about them a little later.
Not important.
Yeah. But after all that's said and done, they're done with summer court, they're back home. Mm-hmm. And then the next morning, it's like a really lovely day. Feyre wants to go read.
Yeah, she goes out to the garden, or whatever it is. I'm pretty sure it's a garden.
I think it was a rooftop patio.
With a garden.
Sure, yeah. There's probably plants.
And Rhys is there.
Yeah, brooding.
He's pissed.
Grumpy. He's having a grumpy day. It's not a good day for Rhys. And she's like, what is wrong with this guy?
Why are you so grumpy?
And she starts to try to poke at him to, like, get him to show, you know, his lovely personality. Uh-huh. And they got some freaking
blood rubies. Tarkeen sent blood rubies. 3 of them. 1 for each of them. Amren, Feyre, and Rhys. Yep.
Yeah.
But what's a blood ruby, you might ask?
What is it? Could you tell me?
I could. Rhys tells Feyre that it's an official declaration that there is no Nope. Rewind. Let me restart. An official declaration that there is a price on their head. They are now hunted and will soon be dead.
Yeah. So it's like a hit mark.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm gonna kill you.
You fucked with us, now we're gonna kill you.
Yep. Watch your backs, you silly fools.
Well,
how dare you steal my freaking half a book, dogs?
There goes the freaking ally.
Yeah.
That they had.
I know. So he's really grumpy about that. Yeah. Which, like, fair,
I would be too.
I mean, I don't want to be murdered.
But don't take it out on Feyre. This whole thing was your idea, Tam.
Rhys.
Not Tam. Whoa.
He is not Tamlin.
Are we gonna fight about it?
Absolutely.
Sir Rhys.
Sir Rhys. So yeah, he's mad. And Feyre's like, cheer up. I just want your banter. I want your freaking teasing, and, like, I want you to be cute with me. Uh-huh. And she starts talking about how she wants to take him to go buy undergarments.
Yeah, she's like, what if we go to the lingerie store.
Yeah.
You can help me pick them out.
And then she's like, maybe I can pick out a few to send to Tarquin. And that's when Reese starts, like, cheering up a little bit. I think that comment makes his mouth corners turn up slightly, and he starts playing along a little bit. And then, girl...
And she has, like, a little spicy daydream about them in the lingerie shop. However, we find out it's not actually a daydream. It's Reese planting it in her brain.
Loved that.
I did, too.
So much. And once she realizes it, she, like, hears his chuckle through the blonde. He's like, I got you all hot and bothered. You're welcome. And she tells more about it and more laughs. Like, she thinks it's hilarious. And she's like, well, you should be... proud because nobody could take him out of one of those moods, basically, which is cute. I know.
This whole entire book makes me...
It's my freaking favorite. I know.
I get, like, cute aggression like I do with my cats.
Squeeze stuff.
Come here!
It's so good. And they just keep getting cuter together. But then that night, man, this is wild.
Yeah, Feyre wake. Oh my god! What? Feyre wakes up to just like darkness in her room, shadows. And she's like, "What the heck?"
She's like, "I know that magic.
Reese's having a nightmare."
Reese's magic. So she freaking stumbles her way to his room.
Yeah,
is like yelling at him. He won't wake up.
She's like, "What?"
She starts slapping the shit out of him. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when he does wake up, he doesn't recognize that it's her.
Pins her to the bed by her throat.
With talons at her, dude. Talons.
Yeah.
Just pins her.
Yeah.
And she's like, dude, it's me. It's me.
Reese, it's Feyre.
Please don't kill me. Although I don't think she thinks he would, you know?
Yeah,
Like, she still feels like he'll snap out of it and notice. And he's naked.
She's trying not to look at him.
She wants to.
She's like, I cannot look below those hippies.
On down. She wants to see every part of him. Even little Reese.
Or big Reese. We don't know yet.
There's not been a description. And she sees that on both of his knees.
I was going to say, is this when we first see the knee tattoos?
Yeah. Both knees. There's a mountain with 3 stars above it.
On both knees. Right?
Yeah. Yep. Each one has it. He eventually calms down. He's still disoriented. And before she leaves him, she, like, looks back at him. And he's just kind of slumped and, like... Defeated. Yeah. She calls him a dark fallen prince. And she wants to paint him. Yeah. Like, that's the first time she's like, wow, I want to paint this.
She also kisses him on the cheek before she leaves.
Very sweet.
She's like, I love you.
Not me, though, being like, just
stay. I know. Like, cuddle him. Cuddle him.
Hold him. You could be the big spoon.
He might really need some company.
Some physical affection in some way.
I just want to slap her.
Girl.
Why would you leave him alone?
Yeah, I mean, he's vulnerable, and I don't know.
I guess.
But
don't
also,
take advantage.
He seems willing to let her in.
Yeah.
Anyways, the next day, after all of that, Feyre goes to see Amren.
Well, first she asks Reese about the tattoos on his knees, right?
I think that's in a note while she's at Amren's, actually.
Okay.
Yeah. They start passing notes regularly.
Yeah.
The whole, like, magic paper shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. She goes to visit Amren, brings her blood. Amren's, like, you know, strung out.
Yeah.
Trying to decode the book. And they start passing notes. And Feyre asks Reese about it. And what does he say the tattoos mean?
They mean that he will not bow before... Well, no. Oh my god, I cannot talk.
I believe.
They mean that he will bow before nothing and no one but his crown.
He's so honorable.
I know, I just love him.
He just wants to protect
this
everybody.
Whole entire episode is just us going,
Reese. As is everyone else. It's fine, I'm sure.
Anyways, we also learn at Amren's that Varian sent her a necklace to, quote, soften the blow of the blood rubies.
I know. This will make it better. You're going to die. Yeah. Or at least be hunted.
But at least you'll be pretty while you do.
You gotta be styling for your death.
No, I think it was really more to, like, convince her not to rage.
Yeah.
And just destroy everything.
Yeah, but I also feel like there's something weird going on with Varian
for sure.
and Amren, because even while they were back in the summer court, they, like, had patios that were basically touching their rooms, and they were like both out there looking at each other or something. Like they just have this weird standoff where I think Aaron at one point says he doesn't know whether to be afraid of me or like want me. He doesn't know what he needs there. But while she's there and still passing notes with Reese and too, he asks her about her painting and says she just hasn't been able to ever since Under the Mountain. She asks Reese why he wanted to be a High Lord. And he basically is like, I just didn't want to be my dad. I wanted to be better.
Yeah. He wanted to be the change.
Be the change you wish to see. That's right. I
was going to make a really dumb...
I want to hear it. Can you tell me?
Yeah, I'll tell you later.
Okay. Just not broadcast it to the world. Copy.
I don't want to get political on this podcast.
Anyways. Then it moves on to, like, favorite training with Illyrian swords. With Cassian. Swords.
Reese tells her, like, where all of her powers come from.
Yeah.
Where each power comes from. Which is cool.
Yeah. And the queens finally respond. The freaking mortal queens. And don't they go, like, immediately?
Yeah, they leave immediately to the mortal realm.
And it's the whole damn court. It's not just Reese and Feyre. Like, Mor goes, Cassie and
Cass.
Amryn, I don't think, does. She's still brooding over the book.
Yeah.
But they all go, and as soon as they arrive, they talk about how the queens had requested, like, really specific information about the house layout.
Yeah,
and,
like, they want the
coordinates.
exact geographic location.
Yeah.
The layout and size of each room, where all the furniture is in the house.
Yeah.
Like, weird.
Like, really extra. Yeah. Only to find that they can winnow.
Yeah, what the heck?
What's that about?
Where did these mortal ladies get fae powers?
Yeah.
What the heck?
What the heck?
Well, we're going to find out.
We sure will. But yeah, they're expecting them to, like, come to the door. And then all of a sudden, these 5, not 6.
Yeah.
5, not 6, just appear.
Yeah.
They're like, hi.
Where's the missing one?
They said she was under the weather.
Yeah. But is she, though? They have guards, too, don't they?
Yeah.
The guards can also winnow.
Yep. Yeah.
Or maybe just the queens can and they bring them.
I'm so sorry, guys.
God, how dare you need water?
I know, I'm thirsty like Feyre. But yeah, they all went away and the guards, like, dispersed to, you know, protect the room. And there's 5 of the queens. There's an old queen. There's 2 middle-aged queens who seem twinny. Like, they seem like a yin-yang kind of situation.
Yeah.
Like, they are the opposite, but the same.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And then there's a young bitch.
There's two young
bitches.
Young ones.
Young ones. Oh my God.
The longer we talk, the worse I am at it. We're a mess. We're a mess.
This episode is absolute chaos today. Sorry.
I'm throwing my water bottle. Your chair's falling
Popping.
apart.
Every time I move, pop.
I'm pretty sure mine does too. Can you hear it? Anyway. Back to the freaking content. Yeah, so they all winnow in and they're weird. And the final one is, like, beautiful shit.
Yeah.
I think she's given more vibes. I think she's maybe 30.
Yeah.
And she is real pretty, and she's the one who sort of steers the conversation. Like, it seems like the rest of the queens kind of let her lead the show. And Feyre talks about needing help, you know, the war. She's like, y'all, there's a freaking threat a brewing. They're going to come for the mortal lands.
And you need to help protect
us.
them.
And the queen's like, no, I don't give a shit about this tiny sliver of land under Prythian. I don't give 2 shits. I'm not going to waste my energy here.
Yeah, they say, this territory is a slip of land compared to the vastness of the continent. It's not in our interest to defend it. It would be a waste of resources.
Yep.
And they think that the Fae should come protect these mortals.
Just have the Fae do it.
Yeah.
It's
so close to the border. Why wouldn't the Fae just do it?
Well, and the Fae are the ones who put us in this situation, so why wouldn't they?
They should take responsibility.
Yeah. Which is disgusting.
Yeah.
These queens are annoying. I don't like them at all.
And they also will not give them the other half of the book.
They won't protect Nesta. I just malfunctioned.
You glitched a little. Are you buffering?
Yeah. No, but when the queens talk about not wanting to protect that sliver of land, they say it's like it's a hard choice or something, and Nesta's like, it's a coward's choice. And I was like, yes, Nesta.
Yeah.
And then Mor gets fed up with their bitchy nonsense. And she's like, enough!
Yeah, and they know of her from the war before.
Yeah,
like
she's
they
the
know
Morrigan.
the Morrigan.
Right.
Yeah.
And her gift is truth, which I don't remember much about that. So that's interesting.
Yeah, I don't.
That's all
either.
she says.
We read a little bit more about
more later
that
on.
the magic later on.
Yeah.
In this set of chapters with the orb.
Yeah. Yeah, but they don't talk much about it with more yet. So
yeah, no.
we'll see what happens there.
It'll be interesting.
They talk about, Mor talks about the last war and how she was fighting aside people, and then she slips up. She
tells them about Miriam and Drakon. And how they're still alive.
Yeah.
On a secret island.
Living with Fae and human alike.
Yeah.
Which Rhys is like, dude.
Bruh, what were you thinking?
He gives her a look like, come on. Like, this is a well-guarded secret. Miriam is supposed to be dead. And she was Jurian's... Come on, Mor. Come on.
And, like, it's a secret that's been hidden for 5 centuries.
Right.
5 centuries, Mor.
Yeah, Mor.
Come on.
Come on, Mor. I know
what
you're
were
pissed,
you thinking?
but, like, what is that going to do you?
Yeah.
Anyway, Rhys is kind of upset about that. But then the queens are like, okay, well, Rhys, you're this bad guy. We've heard about you down here, even. Like, all the mortals know about you, too, and how dark you are, and how you torture people, and so on and so forth. Like, prove that you aren't what we've heard.
Yeah. Because why would we want to help you if you're evil?
Yeah. Prove that you aren't the one who's going to come kill us.
What the fuck does he want to do?
Yeah. Yeah, he doesn't say it quite. Yeah, I mean, he does when they get back. But they ask for proof.
Like, how will... No, he tells them, like, he'll prove. He's going to prove. Yep. He's gonna proof.
Yep. Proofread.
And he asks. he asks, or he tells them he'll summon them when he's ready. And they're like, we won't be summoned.
Yeah. We cannot be summoned. You are beneath us.
We'll come to you when we're ready.
The most powerful High Lord ever.
Yeah.
So
and
then
leave.
Elaine says, I hope they all burn in hell.
This is the one and only time in this whole series that I like Elaine.
The one and only time she's cool.
Yeah.
It's like, damn straight, Elaine.
Yeah, what she said.
Yeah. Hell yeah, Elaine. But then they get back to the Night Court.
They go back to Valaris.
And someone says something about, like, maybe Feyre was supposed to convince them and maybe it, like, wasn't enough. And Feyre starts doubting herself, thinking she failed as emissary.
Yeah.
And Rhys is like, she is more than enough, which I thought was sweet. That's another reason I talked about it.
Of course.
Swoon. Yes, swoon moment. And then he decides...
Rhys says that he's going to show the Queens Valaris, but not by bringing them there.
Right.
He's going to, like, use their own tricks to show them.
Yeah. He's going to show them.
Yep.
And he also explains the whole Miriam and Drakon situation a bit. And about how, like... Miriam was supposed to be given to Drakon as a wedding gift or something, and then he let her go, and she ended up with Jurian and, like, fell in love with him and was healing people during the war.
Yeah.
But then found Drakon again and, like, left with him.
Yeah.
And that's their whole situation.
Yeah. And now they're hidden somewhere.
On an island where they have been for a long time. With all their peeps, and they asked that it would be kept a secret. They asked Rhys. Yeah. So yeah, but that they have this whole conversation about needing that and about needing to go to the Night Court, or nope, the Court of Nightmares, to get
the Hewn City
Orb of Veritas. Sure.
Yeah.
And how it would show the queens the truth.
Yeah, and it's rife with the truth magic that Mor has.
Yeah, the truth magic.
It's like her family is magic.
Right. Yeah. So,
which is weird.
Yeah, and the queens know about it. Like, the queens also know that it is truth.
Yeah.
So they would accept that as proof.
Yeah.
And Feyre was like, take me with you. I want to go to the Night Court.
It's also, I just want to know, one of their most guarded.
Yeah.
Moore's family.
Naturally.
Of course.
Of course it would be. Why not?
It's one of their most guarded. What the fuck is the word I'm trying to look for?
Possessions.
Sure, possessions.
Heirlooms.
So, of course, it's not going to be something easy for them to get.
Yeah, of course. Why would it be?
Why would it be?
It's
Nothing is ever easy.
Yeah. And Feyre wants to go, and Rhys warns her about how he has to act. Like, he says something about, like, I am thinking about asking you not to come.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, no, just let me come. And he doesn't want her to see the way that he acts around the Court of Nightmares.
Yeah.
Because it's entirely different than what she knows. You know, it's the evil, conniving Dark Lord that he's portrayed.
Yeah.
To all the people. Court of Nightmares included. And, you know, the rest of Prithian, I suppose. But she still wants to go. She's ready and willing.
I have a quote for why Rhys doesn't really want Feyre to come.
Okay.
He says, because you've only started to look at me like I'm not a monster, and I can't stomach the idea of anything you see tomorrow being beneath that mountain, putting you back into that place where I found you.
Yeah.
So that like paints a picture of how shitty of a person he has to be.
Yeah. He's got to be real
mountain,
real dark
under
the original mountain.
Yeah,
the OG.
The
mountain.
OG mountain. Not that Amarantha baby shit.
Yeah, that's right. Her mountain was nothing compared to friggin' Court of Nightmares. Yeah. In all of this conversation too, they're talking about the Court of Nightmares and how it's like a terrible place, and they give some backstory about more so.
Her backstory makes me
it's so bad.
So sad.
It's brutal. And it really, really paints the picture of the Court of Nightmares.
Yeah.
And as to why they're like kept so separate in this own sphere of their own, the Hewn City.
Yeah.
But Moore was meant to be married to Eris, who is Lucian's brother.
Yeah.
Was Lucian's brother. I guess he's
the oldest, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think. Of the Autumn Court.
I
think he was heir. So she was meant to be married to him, and she was begging Rhys to get her out.
Yeah, she's like, save me, please.
Dear God, no.
Yeah.
And his dad is fine with her being a pawn. Her family's fine with her being a pawn. So nobody will do anything about it.
Except for Rhys.
He
brings her to one of the war camps for the Illyrians.
Yep. And she goes and freaking, this starts to explain the love triangle.
Yep. She bangs good old Cass.
She bangs Cassian.
She sees him and she's like, yep, that's the one.
I mean, fair, you know?
Yeah.
Cass seems hot.
Yeah.
But her whole goal in that is to, like, make her lose value.
Yeah.
Because if she is not a virgin, then she has less value.
Ugh.
Which is gross. I know.
So then, after she bangs him, I mean, word gets around, and Eris finds out. And now he's like, I don't want to marry you anymore.
Yeah. And her family
she'd been sullied by a bastard-born lesser fae.
Yeah.
And he'd now no sooner fuck a sow.
Yeah,
I'm like, you're gross, dude. Fuck off.
It's all gross. The whole, like, you know, this happens in real life, too, with, like, royalty to some capacity. And that's gross. I mean, it's all, like, power plays and trying to maintain power in your kingdom and stuff, but it's disgusting.
Yeah.
And, of course, Moore was, like, super powerful, and there was a high price for her. But, yeah, her family's pissed by all of this and, you know, completely destroys her.
Yeah.
Like, beats the shit out of her.
They beat the shit out of her, treat her awful.
Torture her. And
then they send her on back to Eris with a note nailed to her body.
Nailed. And Feyre clarifies that, too. She's like, nailed to.
Yeah.
What the hell is that all about?
Her family basically says, you're Eris's problem now.
Right. But then
And, Eris, like, what is he going to do?
Yeah. He leaves her for dead. Because he doesn't want her either. So that was a lot of build around Moore's character, which is really fucked up.
Yeah, and Asriel is the one who finds her.
Yeah. Takes her back. I think there's a whole mention of, like, Az may have been jealous a little bit that, like, he wasn't the one chosen when Moore banged Cassian.
Yeah.
And that's sort of, like, you know, the whole triangle of weird, awkward that's going on between the three of them. But also love. Like, anyway, that's a different part of the story. But yeah, so he tells her all that, and then, you know, she's ready. She's ready to go to the Court of Nightmares with him. And my God.
Snap.
My God.
This whole experience
this chapter,
in the Hewn City, I'm like, ooh, girl.
I know. I was like, this, it gets you.
It gets you.
It gets you going. But not like creepily. But it's meant to, right? It's meant to make you feel some type of way. But before we get to that, okay, while
they're flying, I want to say something. Mm-hmm. Reese is flying Feyre, obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Right.
And they're just like bantering back and forth, and she says that Amryn and Moore told me that the span of an Illyrian male's wing says a lot about the size of other parts. It just made me giggle.
It made me giggle too. And she also like strokes his wings. So they're already building up.
Yeah, she like brushes his wing and she's like, "Oh, I like the way that feels. Let me touch it again."
Yeah, and
he's like
he goes, "That's sensitive." And she's like, "What does it feel like?" And he breathes in her ear.
Yeah.
Like does some breathing in her ear, and she's like, "Oh, okay, my bad."
And she's like, "Oh," and then he also says. We're like children giggling about sex.
Well, it's all right.
During sex, an Illyrian male can find completion just by having someone touch his wings in the right spot.
I know. So they're having all this build-up conversation to this whole experience.
Build the sexual tension.
Yeah. She asks him if he's ever confirmed that to be true or not. And he's like, no, that makes me uncomfortable. Like, I've never trusted anyone enough to let them do that.
He says it, like, makes you super vulnerable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a whole thing. And they're just having this, like, tension that's sexually charged. And then they get shot at.
Yeah. They're all of a sudden attacked while they're distracted by each other.
Yeah. It's a really good add to the mood.
Yeah.
But
and what are they being shot by?
Arrows.
Couldn't be.
Ashwood.
Friggin' Ashwood arrows.
Comes flying. And they know.
Faye has this, like, moment of realization where she's like, oh, shit, I'm a Faye now. This could kill me.
Yeah. Faye was spooked. And they realize it's ash arrows because Reese, like, catches one and is hurt by it. So they immediately go to the ground.
Yeah. And he wants Azriel to take Feyre away.
Mm-hmm. And of course she's like, no.
She's like, no.
I can be helpful. Let me, like, hunt on the ground with Az. And so he agrees, and he lets her go do so. Mm-hmm. While he and Cassian are off.
Way to go, Reese.
Yeah, I know. To be fair, she actually has training now, so she would have been useful to Tamlin at this point.
Well, and even in her mortal life, she was a hunter.
Yeah,
like,
I know. I'm glad
she's got the instinct for hunting.
Yeah, and she's surrounded by 3 fucking Illyrians. Like, she's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
But they don't find anything.
No.
They find not a damn
track
thing.
for a whole hour, because that's all they have
before
they have to be in the Hewn City, and they don't want to raise suspicions that anything is wrong when they're in the city.
Right.
So.
Yeah. And so they don't find anything. They have suspicions that it's the Summer Court. Yeah. But I'm like, could it also be the King of Hybern? If they found their location,
could it be Tamlin?
Yeah, they got a lot of enemies.
Yeah.
I'm like, if the Ator found them before, like, it's very possible that they found them again.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate if it's by the court. But anyway, then Moore comes and gets them. She finds Az and Feyre and takes Feyre and dresses her up in essentially what she wore under the mountain. Yeah. Like, just scraps. Yeah. You could see her boobies and stuff.
It makes me think of the dresses that Nuala and Caradwyn wear.
Yeah.
The, like, cobweb dress.
Yeah.
But prettier.
Yeah. At very least, she puts red lipstick on. She, like, does her hair.
Crown, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Like a little
black crown,
Black crown, yeah.
But gets Feyre all, sexy. Mm-hmm. And they get to the Court of Nightmares before Reese and go in.
They go in.
They
Morris walking her through.
Mm-hmm. And it's a whole city.
It's a whole city, yeah.
Underground. It's not just like one throne room or anything. It's an entire city.
Yeah.
And Feyre's like, holy shit, didn't realize it. But also understands, like, what Amarantha saw and tried to build.
Yeah, and this is where Feyre says, Amarantha's court had been the work of a child. The Court of Nightmares was a work of God.
Yeah, I'll underline that too. But it's crazy. It's a huge city, and then the throne room is outlandish. Like, this huge throne for Rhysand, their High Lord, is very ornate. It has, like, carvings of birds and, like, all sorts of shit all over it. And it very much is, like, this obvious symbol of him because he's not often there. Like,
right.
he doesn't visit very frequently.
Right.
But it's got this, like, ominous tone to it. Like, it seems, in my mind anyway, super dark and, like, intimidating. And just a reminder of Sweet Reese when he's not there.
Yeah.
And Feyre's like, holy shit. Gets in there. There's a brief interaction with Moore's dad before Reese shows up.
Yeah, I feel like he's the one, he, like, intercepts them. He's like, what are you bitches doing here?
Yeah.
Where's Reese?
He's late.
Yeah.
And she's like, he comes whenever he fucking damn well pleases.
Yeah.
You little asshole. And then the Illyrians come.
Yeah.
And Cass and Az come in first.
Mm-hmm.
And they're decked out.
Yeah. They are intimidating.
They have 7 siphons each. Mm-hmm. Which I don't think we've ever learned before.
No.
And Faye was
it's
like,
normal to
they
have one.
need 7 to hold their power. Like, that's scary.
Yeah.
And of course, all of them are dressed to intimidate. Like, they look the part.
Yeah.
Of Dark Court.
Which I'm sure they're used to.
Yeah.
Doing at that point.
Yes, for sure.
And then, we start to feel Reese coming.
Feel him. Before you see him, you feel him.
So Moore goes up to the, like, throne, basically, and announces... she says, your High Lord approaches. He is in a foul mood, so I suggest being on your best behavior, unless you wish to be the evening entertainment.
Yes. I have a quote from Reese's arrival that I'm going to read real quick.
Okay.
And then Reese appeared. He had released the damper on his power and who he was. His power filled the throne room, the castle, the mountain, the world. It had no end and no beginning. No wings, no weapons, no sign of the warrior, nothing but the elegant, cruel High Lord the world believed him to be. His hands were in his pockets, his black tunic seeming to gobble up the light, and on his head sat a crown of stars. No sign of the male who had been drinking on the roof, no sign of the fallen prince kneeling on his bed. The full impact of him threatened to sweep me away. Here was the most powerful High Lord ever born, the face of dreams and nightmares. The description. This is on page 408.
Also had that quote written down.
Did you? I mean, it's a good one.
It's so good.
Yeah, it very much paints this picture because we've gotten to know him now, and like obviously we're obsessed with him and his little sweetness. But then this truly gives a picture of like what everyone else has seen him to be.
Yeah.
Which is relatively new to us. Like we've only seen the interactions with Pharaoh. We haven't really seen anything else. So he gets in. And he is all power. And all of them are acting hella evil. Yeah. And Feyre has to be a plaything again.
Yeah. This is where we learn that Feyre's role is to be basically a distraction and...
Yep. She sure is.
Yeah, her role is to be the High Lord's whore.
Yep. Yeah. I know. And that whole situation.
Yeah.
Well, first fucking Care. Care is his name. More sad.
Yeah, and the hope with, like, Feyre being the distraction and the novelty is that it will catch Moore's father's attention and he'll,
not notice as sneaking off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll seek her out and then he'll be so focused on her that, he doesn't...
I feel like it's more just the spectacle of him and, like, Reese and Feyre that is meant to be the distraction. Like, they're really obnoxious.
Well, yeah.
Like, I don't know if Feyre's supposed to lure him away more so than them putting on a, like, voyeuristic demonstration. You know what I mean? But, yeah, Feyre is meant to play part in the distraction. So, Reese makes me go get her wine. Mm-hmm. And while he's off doing it, it's just a whole bunch of foreplay.
Yeah.
Like, hot and heavy.
He, the first thing he does is tug on her earlobe with his teeth. And she's like, oh, I'll lean into that.
It's so much.
It is.
And they just, they're just going to town. And the whole court is, like, watching them.
Yeah, everyone's just...
And she is ready.
Yeah.
To just bang him right
there.
Yeah. Like,
she needs
hot
it.
and heavy. So bad. Both of them do. But it's intense. They do a lot, She's very much into it.
She says, a dull roaring was filling my ears, drowning out everything but that touch on the inside of my leg. Mm-hmm. She's like, I can't focus on anything when this man is touching me.
Yeah.
I need him right now.
Immediately. Who cares if there's a room full of people?
Yeah, no.
So that's going on. And they're both obviously aroused. That's described.
Yeah, for sure.
I think she finds out that length of wings, may definitely have something to do with it.
Yeah, she's like, I hope that he doesn't feel anything. Like, he needs to touch my leg, but I'm gonna grind on him. And then, he's got something going on.
Yeah.
Just
in front of everybody. It's the whole thing. Good for them,
Yeah, she, yeah, never mind.
Yeah.
I don't need to talk about it anymore.
That's okay. It's a lot. I mean, it's first, it's a lot of more of an in-depth Spice description than we've had before.
Yeah.
Tamlin and her banged, but it was very much like we banged. Period.
Yeah.
And
she's like, he touched me and then I felt good and all right, it's done.
Yeah. So, y'all, if you haven't read this book and want some spice, go to chapter 42. This won't be the last one, I'm sure.
Yeah, no.
So, yeah, that happens. But then Az gets back with the orb and, nods that he got it. Oh, go ahead.
Before Az comes back, during this whole sexual interaction, I don't remember why, but Feyre, gets into Rhys's head and she tells him...
Oh, yeah.
She tells him, you are good, Rhys, you are kind. This mask does not scare me. I see you beneath it. And he kisses her on the cheek for it. And then she's like, okay,
yeah.
I can't use my brain anymore. My small, puny little brain is done for.
Consumed by this man. Yeah, I feel like he hates having to play this part. So she's trying to remind him of his good. What? Now we're giggling.
I just have to show you.
Can I say it out loud?
My notes make me laugh so hard.
Sarah wrote down, wet kitty. Facts, though. You're not wrong.
She didn't want him to touch it. She didn't want him to know how turned on she was.
I know. But,
anyways.
He found out.
Even
though he couldn't hide it himself, so... But yeah, Az gets the orb.
comes back, he gives the nod.
Yep.
That he's got it.
Once Az is back, Feyre gets up to go, leave. Hang out with Cassian.
She goes to Cassian.
And Care, more sad, says, you'll get what's coming to you, whore.
Yeah. And Daddy Rhys does not like this.
He explodes.
He's pissed.
He gets hella angry and demands that Care apologizes.
Yeah, the room explodes in darkness, and when the darkness clears, Care is on his knees. Mm-hmm. And Rhys is like, you better tell her you're sorry.
Yeah, but he doesn't give him the opportunity to.
Yeah, no, and then he's like, all right, no, you're gonna get broken then. And he breaks his arm in, how many places?
Lots of places.
4 different pieces.
Well, in both arms.
And his other arm.
Yeah.
And then his pinky.
Yep. Throw that in.
I'm like, why the pinky?
Just a little salt on top. And he's not allowed to heal him.
Yeah.
Rhys tells him.
Yeah, he's like, you are not allowed to see a healer when you wake up after this, you little bitch. How dare you call my whore a whore?
That is my whore. Yeah, so all that happens, and when they get back after this, Feyre is describing, feeling more awake than she has in a very long time. And I wrote down, Feyre feels awake from getting horny with Rhys.
She does.
A part of her was awakened by all of that, that's for sure.
I think after the whole Cara situation, though, she's a little bit like, dude, you need to calm down. I think so they leave after all of this. Rhys winnows them to, a little mountain lake or something. And he's, apologizing for what happened with Care. And she's like, you need to not.
Yeah. She starts... She starts comparing him to Tamlin in some capacity. Yeah. They have this conversation about how he was overbearing. That was too much.
Yeah.
It was too overprotecting. It was very reminiscent of the way Tamlin was acting before she left. And she, they go back and forth about it. And he wants to pull back. And she's like, well, don't freaking, leave me hanging. I still want to be told things. I still want to be in the loop.
I still want to be your friend.
Just don't be overbearing. And when he goes on to say more, I don't know, she compares it to him, and then she hits hard in saying something along the lines of it's no wonder you don't show your true colors to very many people. Of course they'd walk away if they saw them. She hits low. with her words and comebacks.
I have that quote underlined if you want me to read it.
Sure.
Okay. She says, "At least I let them see who I am, broken bits and all. Yes, it's to save your people, but what about the other masks, Reese? What about letting your friends see your real face? But maybe it's easier not to, because what if you did let someone in? And what if they saw everything and still walked away? Who could blame them? Who would want to bother with that sort of mess?"
Yeah.
And that hit hard.
I know.
Poor Reese.
I know. It's like, it's just, you get in a fight and then you both say worse and worse things. And
say shit you don't really mean.
Right.
You hurt feelings.
Yeah. I'm sure she doesn't. But yeah, that's terrible. And Reese leaves. He gets hurt by that.
He's like, bye.
Yeah.
That sucks. Yeah, he winnows them back to the townhouse and then
They argue.
I wrote down, Reese winnows them back to the townhouse where Feyre has a come to Jesus moment and realizes she was projecting her own insecurities on him.
Yeah. And that she actually wants him.
Yeah.
And she's like worried. I think she feels like it's too soon after Tamlin. Like, what does that say about her if she moves on so quickly?
Yeah, she thinks she's a traitor.
And she's like, maybe it can just be fun. It doesn't have to be love. Like, we can just be fuck buddies.
It can be physical,
like, it could just be that. And she realizes that a little too late there, Feyre, because he asks her then, like, what do you want? And she won't answer. And he's like, well, that's what I fucking thought. Like, you don't have any desires or wants for yourself. He's also digging low. They both are.
Yeah.
Anyway, she realizes all of that, and then she goes to see Amren, and she says to Amren, like, he's lucky he has you guys, and she's like, no, we're the lucky ones. There's actually a quote if you want to hear it.
Yeah, I do. I love quotes.
I know, like, I'm not trying to read too much of the book, but there's some good ones.
There's some really good ones in this book.
Okay, this is on page 426, 427. She says, no, we are lucky to have him, Feyre. I have known many high lords, cruel ones, cunning ones, weak ones, powerful ones, but never one that dreamed, not as he does. Feyre asks, of what? And Amren says, of peace, of freedom, of a world united, a world thriving, of something better for all of us. And Feyre, is struck by this too, and says that she forgot to tell him in their huge interaction that, like, he wasn't, in fact, the villain. He was the one who let her out. He was the one who saved her. So the utmost respect for him. Like, all of his court just loves him, and it's very clear why. And Feyre's like, man, I fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, I really did.
Yeah.
And she...
well, she wants to talk to him, but he's, like, nowhere to be found. He's
respond.
hiding from her.
Yeah.
He won't even take her little notes.
Her notes.
They won't
even
disappear.
Magic note her.
I know.
Damn it.
Amren also tells Feyre that they suspect that there's, like, a track on Reese's magic.
Yeah. Y'all.
My God.
I'm sure you hear it, but my giant husky, his name's Snoobs, is just outside.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure Ethan's downstairs. Go find your father. Weirdo. So sorry if that just happens for the rest of the episode. It very well might.
Anyways, there's a track on Reese's magic that basically, like, anytime he winnows or uses his magic at all, they know where he is.
Yeah.
Whoever they is. We don't know who it is, if it's Hybern or...
somebody can track him.
Summer or whoever.
Which is weird. How do you go about tracking a specific magic?
Yeah, how... wouldn't the person that's being tracked somehow, like, know?
They would have to, like, wouldn't they, like, Feyre, like, have to know the magic?
Yeah.
You would think. But isn't that saved and reserved for Mr. Reese?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's interesting.
Kind of weird.
Questions.
Plot hole.
Yeah. Plot question. But they have to leave soon, but they're not leaving yet.
Yeah, because they gotta stay for Starfall. They gotta stay for Starfall. That's hard to say.
And she's like, what the heck, Starfall? And Amren's like, it's better to be a surprise.
Yeah, she basically says that it's like the Night Court's version of Nysar.
Ninsar?
Nysar.
I thought it was...
Nisser.
Oh, it's an R?
Nysar.
N-Y-R? I thought it was... Anyway, doesn't matter. We don't need to get hung up on that
N-Y-R.
I thought it was N-Y-N-S-A-R. Okay, whatever.
I don't think so.
It doesn't matter.
Anyways, which is like a weird little tiny holiday that they, like, skipped over in the first book. Or in the...
which also makes me
beginning of this book. I don't remember.
I think it may be in the beginning. I don't know. because maybe it's yearly. Anyway.
It is.
No, she said that it made her realize how long she'd been gone. Like, she's left the spring court, and it's been a couple months already.
Yeah.
So maybe it was,
It's
maybe
fine.
it was around the time that she left. But I don't remember. It doesn't matter.
Anyways.
So, yeah. The next day, or no, that evening, Feyre's getting ready to go up to the House of Wind to celebrate Starfall. Mm-hmm. And she's looking at herself in the mirror, and she's like, wow, didn't realize how fucking hot I am.
Yeah, she's like, oh shit, I got boobies again because I'm not malnourished.
Yeah.
And sad.
I filled out and have like a glorious gown that Nuala and Caradwin put me in, and I look like a fallen star, is what she says. And then Cass brings her up. Reese is nowhere to be found.
Go up to the House of Wind.
Yep.
Still no Reese. I wrote, still no Reese. Just kidding. Reese shows up.
Yeah. They get there. Moore comes to say hi. And finds her. They talk a little bit about the Cassian situation, and Moore says she only ever banged him one time.
Oh, yeah. That's what we talked
like,
about
it
that.
never happened again.
Yeah.
But there's some interesting feelings from Az around all of that.
Yeah.
And then good old Reese comes.
He sneaks up behind them.
Yeah.
Is how I read it.
Yeah. He's like, hey. From behind. Real quick.
Says to Feyre, you look like a woman again. And Moira's like, wow, you really know how to talk to a woman.
No, was that meant to be a compliment? Like, I didn't look like a woman before tonight? Yeah. Thanks very much.
The sass.
Rude. But then they start talking, and Feyre just wants to keep it light. Like, she doesn't want to talk about the argument.
Yeah.
And they go off to a little quiet area. Just the two of them.
He takes her to a private little balcony where they can chitty chat.
And it's awesome. Mm-hmm. The sky starts filling with what looks like shooting stars. Yeah. But Reese tells her it's like spirits or something. Like spirit orbs. It's not actually stars. I don't remember what he calls them. But the sky's full of them. Like, it's a ton of them coming down, and they're super close to the House of Wind. So much so that you could reach out and touch them if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know what they're called? I think he says they're spirits of high fae or something, like, that have passed. And that there's fewer and fewer of them every year. Or something along those lines.
Really help if I looked at the right page.
It's chapter 44, if that helps. Da, da, da. Do, do, do. We need, like, elevator music for the times that we look.
Yeah, really do. He says they're just spirits on a. Wow, Sarah, get it together. This is on page 435. They're just spirits on a yearly migration to somewhere else where they pick. Why they pick this day to appear here, no one knows. So yeah, they're just spirits.
Okay.
Traveling on to their next destination.
Copy. Got it. But then, Feyre gets hit by one.
Yeah, while she's like grazing his fingers.
Yeah,
she's like,
it's like a cute romantic moment.
I need to touch your fingers.
She gets a freaking paintball to the face, essentially.
Smacked in the face with a star. And I said in my notes, LOL, karma for being a bitch. Now you got spirit juice on you.
Spirit juice. But Reese is like, no, don't wipe it off. It makes your freckles glow.
Uh-huh.
And then he gets smacked with one, which makes Feyre laugh.
Yeah.
Harder. So they both have just, spirit dust all over him. And she starts painting images on his hands. Yeah. In the dust.
And she says after he gets slapped that it looks like heavenly war paint.
That's cute.
I was like, oh, that's...
Yeah.
I want to see it.
I know, me too. Every part of this book I want to see.
I know. And during this, she's painting on him. Yeah. And then she smiles at him.
And they're laughing and smiling. She gives him, like, full smiles for the first time.
Yeah, she smiles at him.
Yeah. And he's like, you're do it again. He calls her magnificent.
He calls her exquisite.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I was close.
Exquisite. He like stops after she smiles and she's like, what? And he's like, smile again.
Yeah, she
and
didn't realize she had.
And he's like, you're exquisite.
Can you imagine how awkward that is? Like, the first smile was just naturally given, and then he's like, do it again. And she's like, okay. Yeah, so he gets some smiles from her. He talks a little bit about how he regrets their first kiss. Because, they kissed when they were under the mountain.
Yeah.
To put on an air for Martha and wishes he could take it back.
Yeah, that was after, like, Tamlin, right?
Yeah.
She made out with Tamlin, and then Rhys is like, I gotta kiss you because it looks like you've been touched.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Feyre asks him to dance.
Yeah, and they go back downstairs and dance with their friends.
So they go dance.
I love that.
I know.
She's like, I want to dance with you, but I also want to, like, be with our friends.
Yeah, but they dance until everyone, like, past everyone else, until everyone else falls asleep. They describe also, like, as Cass and Mord dancing together, like, one unit. And I was like, that's sweet. They have an interesting situation going on.
I love it.
I love them. And then once that's over, they gotta go.
They gotta go
to the Illyrian camp to await word from the queens.
Yeah. Why can't they just do that in the court?
I think there was mention of it because they're tracked or something. Like they're trying to get out of Valaris, I imagine. So they're not tracked to Valaris.
Yeah.
So yeah, they go to the Illyrian Warren camp and meet Lord Devlon, which
I hate him.
Yeah. He's the leader of that
camp leader. And we learned some things about Illyrians in this. Like we already knew they treated women like shit, but like
they won't train them.
Yeah,
to fight.
The women must do chores before they can train, which is not what Rhys told them. He told them they should be trained before they do chores. Why do they have to do chores?
Yeah,
the men can do that too,
guys.
Yeah,
guys. Men, you can wash dishes, you freaking pricks. But yeah, they haven't trained. They also end up finding out that they haven't trained their women in like a week or more, 10 days.
Yeah, they say that like they find women who corroborate that they haven't had any training in 10 days, which is ridiculous.
Yeah. Devlon makes mention of Feyre being like Amren, like maid. He says something about that. And Rhys mentions that Amra stayed behind and that Feyre is his. Yeah. She says she is mine.
And he says it loud enough for everyone to hear.
Like, don't fucking touch her. She's
no one
mine.
Touch her, yeah.
Mistaken claim.
He also tells Devlin to clear out his mother's old house.
Yeah.
And Devlin's like, but my best warriors are living there. And he's like, so unoccupy it then.
I am your high fucking
I don't
lord.
fucking
what
care about your warriors.
I know.
Give me my house,
Devlin is just whiny.
Yeah.
I don't like him. So once all that's settled, Rhys and Feyre go to train some more.
Yeah, and we learn also that the reason they're wanting the women trained is because Cassian's been trying to like build an aerial army of the Illyrian women, which is cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
It's badass.
I know. Hell yeah. Flying aerial women.
Yeah.
And when they go to train, Rhys mentions stuff about the Great Rite. He says, like, Devlin's kind of a prick, but he did allow Cassie and Azriel and I to participate in the Great Rite.
Isn't it the... I have to look.
It's not the Great Rite. That's the first...
It's the Blood Rite.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I was thinking of the Calamine situation. But the Blood Rite, where, the Illyrians have to get to the top of the mountain and will kill each other to do so.
Yeah.
So he talks about that a little bit, which we'll definitely find out more later.
Yeah, and we learn also that, like, Rhys... Cassian and Azriel also all did the Blood Rite.
Yeah,
and made it out.
Were successful. Yeah.
Because they're alive.
And then she asks him, she says, you owe me 2 thoughts from that one time. And she asked him about Tamlin. And he said essentially that they like sort of were friends a while ago when they were kids or whatever.
Yeah, this whole story was wild.
I know,
to me.
It's intense. There's a lot going down there.
Yeah.
But they were buddies.
Yeah.
And Rhys was like trying to teach Tamlin stuff about the Illyrians, like their ways.
Yeah, it was like Rhys pitied him almost because of the way his family treated him and his brothers treated him. And
Yep, and neither dad liked that they were friendly at all.
Yeah, Rhys tried to like train him with some of the Illyrian techniques, and his father was like threatened by that, Tamlin's father, because he didn't want his son to become too powerful.
Yeah. And so what does he go and do?
So Tamlin's father, Rhys and his father go to... No,
first...
I remember.
Okay.
First, Rhys's mom and sister are slaughtered by Tamlin's family. And they chop off their heads, send them down the river in a little box,
and keep their wings.
As trophies.
I know. And Reese said, like, I'm surprised you didn't see them at that friggin' meeting. And I was like, what? I know.
So then to retaliate, which, like, rightfully so, fair. I would too.
Murder.
Reese and his father go to Spring Court and sneak on a little property.
Murder
the whole family.
Everybody. Mom included, which wasn't part of the plan.
Reese made his father promise that they wouldn't kill the mother, and he did anyways. Yep. While Reese was killing the brothers. Mm-hmm. And then his dad wanted to kill Tamlin, too.
Yep.
And he's, like, going up to the door, and Reese stops him. And then, Tamlin opens the door, and he's like, nah, bitch.
Yep.
Murders the dad in one shot.
Yeah, and then Reese said something like, we had a stare off and both felt the power transfer to us. Yeah. Like, they both
and you could almost see it.
Yeah, they both became High Lords at the same time. Yeah. Essentially, which is ridiculous. It's wild.
It's wild.
That's a weird thing to go through together. And then Reese just runs. He leaves. He's like, oh, shit. That's not going to be good for anybody. Yeah. So he leaves. Yep. And so Feyre shows off her magic, too, to Reese.
Yeah, she also asks him, why he didn't tell her sooner about everything that happened with Tamlin. Mm-hmm. And he says, basically, he didn't want to tell her because he didn't want her to think that he was, like, trying to turn her against Tamlin.
Yeah. He's just so sweet. Conscientious about everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and amidst all of this conversation, she's doing stuff with water, like freezing water, making animals.
Yeah, they've been training this whole time.
Yep, and when she hears that, Tamlin slaughtered Reese's family, she explodes the freaking clearing in flames. Mm-hmm. And after that, she says something. She kills the fire. Reese is like, Feyre. And the fire dies, and he said, it's the end of the episode, y'all. We're getting there. But there it was, crackling inside my veins, crackling beside veins of ice and water and darkness. Embers flared around us, floating in the air, and I sent out a breath of soothing dark, a breath of ice and water, as if it were a wind at dawn, seeping clean the world. The power did not belong to the High Lords, not any longer. It belonged to me, as I belonged only to me, as my future was mine to decide, to forge. Once I discovered and mastered what the others had given me, I could weave them together into something new, something of every court and none of them. Yes. I was like, yes, queen.
I know.
It's such a build up to her just like, one, becoming her own whole person, but also becoming a very unique weapon in all of this. Yeah. Like, nobody is like her. She is a part of everyone, but also of none. Like, I loved that quote.
Yeah, I had that one underlined too, so I'm glad that you read it.
Yeah, that's a really good one. And then at the end of that, Feyre looks at Reese and tells him that she wants to paint him. Mm-hmm. And he says, nude would be best.
Yeah. I love his friggin' little quips.
I know.
So
their banter is the best.
It's
the best.
So good. And then
we're almost at the end of the section, y'all. Go ahead.
I don't know if is it the next day they like go back into the woods to train more, and she wants to work specifically on her fire.
Yeah.
So they're trying to like find a place where, Reese can get kind of far away and
she can do it safely.
There's a river or something nearby that they can use to like put the fire out if things get out of hand.
Yeah.
And Feyre's distracted thinking about Reese, of course.
About wanting to be fuck buddies.
Yeah, she's like, well, if I just use him for his body, then I'm not a traitor against Tamlin because there's no feelings involved.
Who cares about Tamlin, Feyre? Yeah.
Just let the feelings happen, yes. Feyre. Come on.
And pay attention.
And pay attention because who shows up, Danielle?
The freaking Spring Court Sentinels. And specifically, Bronn and Harp.
Yeah, there's...
the two that talked to her at the party before the wedding. Hart,
I think that there's 5 people.
Okay.
Total, and she says 2 of them I noticed, Bronn and Hart.
And then right smack in the middle.
And then right in the middle...
Lulu. Lucian.
My Lulu.
Lucian. I think he says her name.
Yeah, he says, hello, Feyre.
Yeah.
And that's when she turns around and sees them.
They came. So
what are they going to do?
Are they the ones who can track Rhys's magic?
Yeah.
I guess he hasn't really done magic, minus winnowing and stuff.
Yeah, but they can track the winnowing.
Yeah, so maybe they're the ones.
They've got to be.
But
are they the ones who attacked them with ash arrows?
Maybe.
Because would they risk attacking Feyre?
Probably.
I don't know. I feel like Tamlin's still kind of brooding about her. Yeah, he wants her.
Maybe. He wants to, like, prove that you can't take his toys more than anything.
More than he wants her.
Yeah. I don't know. But, y'all, that's where we ended this section. Which is the perfect place to end. To keep you on the edge of your seats.
Bummer for you guys.
A bummer for you guys.
Especially
because... y'all, after this episode, so episode number 5, which comes out February 5th. We're going to take a small break.
We are.
from the world of ACOTAR. Yeah. And, I'm sorry to leave you on this cliffhanger. But
I'm not.
I think it's fun, too. But we're going to take a small break to read The Midnight Library by Matt Haig.
We're going to read the whole book.
Yeah, it's going to be one-off episode.
One and done.
We're just going to read the whole dang thing, talk about it, take a small break from the deep, complicated world that is ACOTAR for a quick read. So hopefully y'all can read it before then.
Yeah.
You should read it before February 5th and tune in. Let us know your thoughts.
Yeah.
We'll be talking about that. But, Sarah, do we have time to talk about theories? We can make time.
I don't know how long we've been recording. It's 8 o'clock.
Oh my gosh.
I think this might be a long one.
Okay. Well,
we can go check out our TikTok if you want to hear any theories from this section of the book.
Yeah, for more content from us, you can follow Books and Crannies Podcast on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube. And, of course, watch this podcast, the whole thing, unfold on YouTube as well.
Yeah.
So go give us a follow. Be sure to subscribe on whatever podcast platform you're using. Leave us a rating.
Please.
I do want to shout out, we got a comment from, like, Gamer Girl 808 on Apple Podcasts, who is very, very kind and sweet. So shout out to you.
You made both of our days.
You truly did. But yeah, go give us some love, y'all. It really helps. And we can't wait for you to keep
really
with
look
us.
forward to seeing you guys next week.
Yeah, for sure.
For the Midnight Library.
Yeah. I'm excited.
Me too.
It'll be a nice little break.
Yeah.
So read it. Come talk about it with us.
Yeah.
And happy reading.
Happy reading, guys.
Bye.
Bye.